Friends, welcome, and we are live. So I'm going to read out a brief disclaimer so that nothing can get misconstrued here. I would think this would be obvious to people that already follow my channel, but there are new people coming in all the time. And even when I say this, I know there's still people that are going to be like saying stuff, but I just want to make this very clear before we get into this. So, like I do for everyone on this channel, it's a platform for people to share their Scientology stories. And I adamantly reject the idea that I am aligning myself with anyone. Like I said, I provide a platform, guys, for anybody to come on and share their story. That includes everyone from Chris Malin, who is an unbelievably brave man who shared his story a few days ago. And if you haven't checked that out, you have to. Up to Trinity last night, who bared her heart and soul, and Aaron Smith Levin. I've also have extended an invitation to Karen De La Carriere and Jeffrey Augustine to come on here and be treated in a respectful manner to answer the allegations and evidence concerning them. So I just wanted to be clear about that before we get started. And what we're going to do here, I originally just wanted to talk to Tony and have him lay out his Scientology story. Just because I've never actually seen it laid out. And that was the original intention. But because there's been so much blowback, which we're going to get into in part 2 of this broadcast, this is a 2-parter. It's one stream, so relax. It's probably going to go for 2, maybe 3 hours, who knows? But we're separating it into 2 parts. The first part, Tony, from the beginning, is going to share his Scientology story. And I'm going to kind of interject and jump in when appropriate to speculate how actually he got set up. I was a Scientologist for most of my life. He spent about 3 years in it. So I'm going to jump in and explain whatever he can't explain, if he wants me to. And then in part 2, we're going to take up all the questions. And I'm going to read an email off to you in part 2 that will set the groundwork for why this is a problem on my end, and hopefully to set the record straight. So please line up your questions. Goldie is the moderator. You have to really do something bad to be blocked by her. But I just want to say, hey, Goldie, if please, in this particular broadcast, don't block anyone at all unless they dox, okay? Because I want to have you guys fire out any questions that you have for Tony during the story when he's talking about and when we get into part 2. And I'm going to do my best to star them. And then we'll take them one by one, like I said, in part 2, so we can maybe put some things to rest and Tony can answer however he feels like it. So let me bring him on and then we will get started with part 1 of the story. And thanks for joining us, by the way, guys. How you doing, my man?
Hello, Clarice.
Good introduction.
Thank you very much. How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me today, Doug. Appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Hello, chat.
Thanks for coming on. You know, me and Tony kind of, well, it's a long story about this broadcast coming to be, but let's just get right into it, my man. Let's frickin' tell your story in a sequential way, and wherever you want to pick it up from.
Well, I think for me, the beginning of my experiences with Scientology really started very early on in my life, because I was a kid of the 80s. So that's when a lot of those Scientology commercials started to come out.
Right.
With the
exploding volcano.
Yep. And, you know, I saw that and it definitely made an impression on my mind. And, you know, as I was going through life, and before that, I was always kind of like this, you know, I had a lot of experience with being in very bad, abusive situations. So a lot of things started to happen in my brain, but I was also kind of like one of the smart kids, unfortunately, because that just adds another difficult wrinkle to being social. So I start to, you know, come up in my life. I mean, one of the first things I did for money was I was stealing my uncle's weed from him. I was, I think, eight years old, stealing my uncle's weed and taking it down to the arcade and selling it. And I don't really know even how I knew how to do that, but I think, I think so this was the beginning of like this way that I thought that I could just do anything and just get away with shit. It started to plant with me really early. So later on, as I started to get more interested into acting and started to head down that, you know, sort of road, and, you know, performance and things like that, had bands and everything like that. But I remember a particular situation that I mentioned the other day on my show, which is I would take the train to New York City. And after seeing those Dianetics commercials, I got the book, Dianetics. I don't know why. And I only read like little pieces and parts of it and stuff like that because it was just like, I didn't really dig too much into it until a little bit later. But then I read that paperback. It was a paperback. I remember that.
Yeah.
And, wherever paperbacks are sold,
Walden Books, get your copy today. Page 411. How you have a relationship
Right.
problem? Yeah, it's a great commercial.
Yeah.
I mean, for PR wise. By the way, Tony, isn't it crazy? Real quick, this always blows my mind. Why on earth would something so fraudulent and a criminal cult like Scientology be advertised in the 80s with an ad? I mean, wouldn't that be illegal for selling a fraud?
Robert Maxwell.
Okay.
Robert Maxwell was friends with L. Ron Hubbard.
That's right. And that's another reason why I kind of like some of the information you're putting out, man, because I go down the rabbit holes as well. It's far beyond just Scientology, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, if you're gonna have an organization that's a prime, trafficking thing, what you do
and celebrity trafficking and everything. Scientology operates more like an intelligence agency than just some innocent UFO cult.
And I just, put one up here. How L. Ron Hubbard was actually contacting the government, writing letters to them. So if you got the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and the MI6, well, you got to have Mossad in there.
Yep, and there goes the channel, man. I mean, well, thank God I'm not monetized because that would have demonetized it in 30 seconds, man. But I know what you're talking about. No, you can get away with that stuff.
Oh yeah. I know how to dance on the line, obviously.
Fair enough, man. Speaking of dancing on the line, how did you go from L. Ron Hubbard book to what was the next step, man?
Well, I started to get more into acting. I was getting work. I was getting some, really positive traction. And then, I started to go to New York City to audition from Philadelphia, taking the train. You take the Amtrak train. And, if you're fancy, you're taking the Metroliner. If not, you got to take the Jersey Transit and, you got to switch a couple trains around. So that was on the one I was. Getting off in New York City one time, I come up the steps, and this is, I think, my first time, in New York City. I had a really, in a nice little suit. I was like 16, something like that, maybe. My first time in New York City by myself.
Did you go out there specifically to pursue acting?
Well, this was a particular day that I had meetings, auditions, going to meet agents and things. So it was like my first New York trip that people were sort of tapping me in Philadelphia to come up and see what was going on. And I ran into this 3-card Monte thing. And this is really relative to the story of what happened with me in Scientology is that, those 3-card Monte games, find the lady, put the thing down. Everybody around is like, hey, Ron, how are you? Everybody around is part of the hustle and you don't even know it. They're part of the scam, right? So
I'm kind of tracking.
Yeah. So on a 3-card Monte game, you got one guy at the table. You have spotters everywhere. You have other people pretending they're winning, right? And then I lost $40 that day.
Welcome to New York City, kid.
That's right. There you go, kid. We out of here. And then I said to myself, I am never going to be a mark again. I am never, ever going to let that shit happen to me.
Understood.
Smash cut to several years later, I'm on the set of a film.
Now go slow on this because this is what kind of intrigued me, man, when we started talking.
Okay. This is the setup and the okay, I'll just tell you the story.
Yeah, sure. Take your time, man.
Okay. So I'm working on a film. Walking out and walking off the set with Jenna Elfman and Bodhi, her husband.
Now, real quick question, brother. So you go from New York, you're in Los Angeles for how long would you say before you get cast in this role where you're on set with those two? And I believe you even had scenes with Bodhi, right? Was this your first acting gig? Was it kind of a couple? How long had you been in LA?
I had already done a bunch of acting work, some national television, on some Golden Globe shows, some just different
in New
series.
York, kind of in New York before you got to LA.
Out of New York, but then I got then I moved to LA, right? So I moved to LA. So this is I should have gotten to that. I'm so sorry.
It's all right, man.
I came out to LA when I was around 20, 21 years old from New York City.
Got it.
So now we're talking around 91, 92. So I was being cast pretty quickly when I
That's
got
really
here.
good, by the way, because it took me almost about 8 or 9 years, Tony. I got a few little parts here and there, but I didn't get my first like television show, and like it was a recurring guest star until about 8 or 9 years. So I fucking suffered forever, and I hated people like you that were able to freaking get a start right away with the commercials and shit. But that happens.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid at this point you're going to have to get in line. We're going to have to re-rack the deli ticket numbers for that. But
fucking good job on getting a foot in the door, man, because that takes forever. And then also that kind of leads into what you were going to talk about. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to lay the timeline out, but about how important this Jeddah Elfman and Bodhi thing is.
Holy shit.
So do you want me to like set the stage for kind of like what you actually got involved in by being cast in this movie, or do you want to talk a little bit? Because I'd like to say something about that. Maybe you should lay it out first.
Well, should I do like, well, no, you do it. You
Okay.
because now I'm already at a point we're walking out. I've already been targeted. I've already been spoken to. I've already been approached. I've already been I've already had conversations with them. And then I realized these were just sort of, you know, what you told me, you know. So
we're talking about Jenna Elfman and Bodhi Elfman, just so you guys know. So I'll give some backstory. I told Tony, look, man, because we were talking about acting and shit like that. I was trying to feel him out, you know, to see if we could do a broadcast together or not. Plus, like I said earlier, there's so much heat and shit coming back on my lines, which I'll share with you later.
And I did talk a little shit about you.
Yeah, I know. I know. Nothing's safe. So I knew that anything that I said to Tony would be on his broadcast within 5 minutes. So I was selective on what I said. But I was being upfront with you, dude. And one of the things that caught my attention, this guy, like, I told him, your first mistake, and it's not your mistake, Tony. How the fuck are you supposed to know? And this is why I'm so adamant specifically about warning artists that move out here that there's a predatory cult that will go after your ass, especially if, like you don't know just how. I mean, you couldn't have gotten more unlucky than you got, bro, because Jenna Elfman in particular is one of the most hardcore Scientologists. And I'm telling you, I was a hardcore Scientologist too. So when I was on set and just in life in general, my brain was always thinking and scouting out who would be a candidate to open up the conversation about Scientology and get them in there. I wanted everybody to be in it, but it was a secret I would simultaneously keep as I feel the person out. So your first mistake was getting cast in a movie with any Scientologist. Your second mistake was it just happened to be the most hardcore FSM. That stands for field staff member. Jenna and I and other Scientologists would get 10% of any services that Tony would take or anybody that we can rope in. So we have the incentive of money. We have the incentive of money itself, plus the fact that Hollywood people probably will make a lot of money if they get the tech or they go up in Hollywood. So capturing celebrities, newbies that are coming up. Me and Marcus Sawyer talked all about this, about how they go after celebrities and the way they do it or whatever. But I'm just saying mistake number 2 is that you got cast opposite frickin' Bodhi Elfman and his wife, Jenna, you know, I believe that you were walking off the set, right, at Paramount or something, and Jenna came on, right? Yeah. So that's your second mistake. And the third mistake is that you kind of got streamlined by meeting them it's not a mistake because you got to see the inner layer of Scientology much faster, just like you were talking about how your career kind of popped off right away. You happen to get the exact wrong people to get the VIP pass to go to the president's office, etc., which I think you're going to talk about. And then you go ahead and talk about the bicycle thing, because I want to say something about that. So you're walking out of you're walking out of Paramount with Bodhi, right? And you
walking off the back lot. And we there's a parking lot that was across the street. That was where we were all parked. Fuck me. And then as soon as we sort of start to cross the street, this car comes out.
It's all right, dude. Take your time, man. We're in no hurry.
I
know
really
it's ridiculous
about this the other day on my show. I completely broke down. Bro. But today it's kind of more funny because I realized something else. So anyway.
Sure.
This bicycle comes and goes, this guy that hit the bike right across the hood of the car, and boom, this guy lands right in front of us on the sidewalk. And these two just sort of like jump to help this guy. And I gotta say, there have been people that have spoken to me, and including Doug, that the whole thing was probably set up. And the reason
definitely within the realm of possibility.
Right. And the reason I believe that, because that dude landed perfectly. It was like a mark. He just landed right in front of us. And I didn't even see it because I was so high. Okay. I think I had snorted like an 8-ball of cocaine that day.
Oh
You
man,
know?
I'm sure. By the way, do you think that Bodie or Jenna recognized that? Because that would be an
Yeah.
additional reason why they would try to get you into
They
the
would
sheriff
know
and
it.
get you off drugs.
My trailer smelled like weed,
Okay,
like a big
you were
cloud of weed, and I
definitely
have
an
the coke on
SP.
my face.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough.
So, so anyway, they sort of like jump into Scientology action or whatever, you know? They go and they take the guy and they pick up his arm and they try and put it in the place where it hit, you know? And I find out that's the contact that touches this and all this shit. I find out later. But they go and they try and help him. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm all gabbed out on coke, and I'm like, holy shit. They're like, what are they doing? What is that? And they're like, oh, this is Scientology. You ever hear of Dianetics? And then it just went to the volcano in my head. And that's the first thing I thought of. And I was like, holy shit, that's that Dianetic shit. You're doing the Dianetic stuff? You're doing the Dianetic stuff? Yeah. You know,
Hey, Daniel, real quick, if this story is true, and by the way, like I said, I have my own perceptions and viewpoints. I bring on all kinds of guests. So Tony's taking a chance. If he's bullshitting, you guys can dig into it. You can look into
ask me questions.
you can do anything you want. But to say that I'm not sure, Daniel, what you mean by this, but they ain't getting you. If you're talking about whether or not they would be setting him up, let's take the bicycle thing out of it, and let's say that happened organically. You can verify, this stuff about Jenna Elfman and Bodie, and it is within the realm of what we're talking about actually happening. This is what they do. Like I said, even excluding the bicycle incident. You know what I immediately thought of, Tony? There's a guy named Gabe Cazares, I believe his name is, where he was set up in a hit and run. He was a Florida politician of some sort that was challenging Scientology.
Mhm.
If you know anything about their fair game or what they do, it is reasonable that if Tony's telling the truth and his story checks out, and I would encourage you, it'd be very bold of you, my man, to come on here and bullshit, because here it is, right? The video stays up.
Yeah.
So if his story is true, then this is something that is in the realm of them doing. And anybody that studied Scientology's fair game in any kind of detail, it literally borders on fiction about the lengths that they go to, and setting up somebody. If he was like an up and coming actor and he had scenes with Bodie and he seemed like an eligible person that they might want to bring in, it's totally it's within the realm of possibility that they would actually stage a guy bouncing off, hitting a car and bouncing off of a bike, so they can go into Scientology mode and do the locational. What they would do is they would touch the body on the guy. It looks ridiculous, but perhaps it would be electrifying to somebody like Tony, who's going, what in the fuck did I just witness?
Let me add, please, that there's an 8-ball of cocaine in my head at this
Yeah,
time.
there you go.
And
And that would also be an additional reason why they would want to help him.
Or why I would think this was so like crazy and amazing,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What was your reaction? Were you electrified? Did you make the Scientology connection right away? Did you ask Bodie or Jenna, what the fuck did you just do? Did they mention to you that this was Dianetics that we're applying, Tony?
They said the word. All I know is they said the word Dianetics. I don't remember the words that they used then and there. All I know is that I felt like I was like, wow, this is some Superman shit. They're like touching and healing something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And then they're like, I don't even remember the words this is a long time ago, and I don't remember the words that they said. But all of a sudden, all I know is that I was at Celebrity Center. I don't know whether I met them over there or they were like, hey, we can go over there right now. Because keep in mind, Paramount is right up the street from Celebrity Center.
I know right where you're talking about.
Conveniently enough.
Would you say that you remember that they were at least
on Bronson, actually, and that Bronson gate is the same Bronson gate that they have a Bronson gate. So Scientology has their Bronson gate.
Do you think, could you say, because it was in the 90s, could you say that they in some way were probably instrumental in getting you to go down there in some fashion, or could it have been just you checking it out on your own? In other words, were you electrified by that incident enough? Did you know Jenna and Bodie were Scientologists at any point?
No.
Okay, so how did they, or other people, how did you actually get down to Celebrity Center? What compelled you to go down there? Did they call you? Like, how did that go about?
I don't remember if I went there and they said to go meet somebody, or if I met them there. It was just one of those things that happened, and then before you know it, I'm in the fucking purification with you know what I mean? I'm in this purification rundown, and that's kind of the next thing I remember. I get this tour, and I think before I went in the purification, there might have been some workbook stuff or anything, or
That would be basic course and stuff you were probably introduced to. When
Uh-huh.
you took the Pura, what were you trying to take the Pura for? Were you sold that this is going to handle your drug problem, and were you
Yeah.
trying to get off drugs?
Yeah. So this was my main concern, was not only did I want to deal with drugs, but they told me like that they could help, make me a better person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Make me this Superman. Like that was the whole vibe. There was a hot lady taking me around for my first orientation, where they take you around and show you around the facility.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I think I did some stuff, and then I went in that restaurant.
Yeah, you're talking
and I
about.
do remember one thing about that restaurant, and this is so dumb. They had this linguine dish, like this. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was fucking delicious. And then, anyway, you go over to, and then I'm doing the Purif, and you do the niacin and but I was high as fuck. I was still getting high when I was going.
So was I before I took to it. I did the Purif 3 times, and I was stoned the entire time during the second one.
So I was in there, and I was in there with quite a cast of characters, because it was kind of like, pre-fame for Ethan Suplee. And I was in there with Danny Masterson and Danny Keogh and some of that other crew in that group. And, I had some connections to Kirstie Alley. And I had also...
What kind of connections? When you say connections, what do you mean exactly by that?
Just through someone she was dating.
Okay. Like, you talked to her, would you consider her a friend? Was she one of the people that you were getting love bombed by? Did you feel like you were being looked at as a prospect to go up that bridge, and they were kind of like trying to give you any kind of a VIP treatment or keep some eyes on you?
I felt like every day was like that.
Really?
I felt like they really, I would go there, and sometimes, dude, I would hang out there for hours. I mean, you go in the Purif. The Purif was really long.
Yeah.
But
every
then,
day for hours on end.
Hanging out afterward, and then reading like shit with people. And, there was a lot of like actresses, like, there was a lot of dudes. Everybody was kind of there. Like, it seemed like it was this whole community of this advanced, hard to explain, but almost like, one of those old science fiction movies where you walk on the place where everybody's super smart and everybody's super like, above everything else. And that's really, that's how they made you feel there, that you're like the very best that the earth has, and that you're an artist, and that the artist is the most important thing ever. And we must save the artists and blah, blah, blah.
Yep. That's exactly right.
So,
Okay. I get the vibe of how you're treating you and shit.
Yeah. So then it turns out that I was getting high. It was fucking not, I was not going in, and they,
were you, so obviously you weren't taking the program seriously. You just threw $2,500 down the drain. Like, what was your thinking as to why you would have done that? You just couldn't kind of kick it, but you wanted to, did you want to hang out and meet some celebrities and shit?
It was $2,500, bro.
Oh no. Back in the 90s, I guess it would have been like what, 1,500 maybe?
Whatever.
Okay, but it was expensive enough for
my credit card. That's what I want to know. Is it because I don't?
Why did you take the program?
Anybody anything? What?
Okay, you must have been really high. Well, I'm wanting to understand is like, why would you want to even take the purification rundown if you weren't going to at least give it a shot by laying off the fucking drugs?
Because I thought that what they were giving me was supposed to like take the cravings away and all that stuff.
The vitamins and shit?
Yeah. Like I thought that in the program was supposed to like get rid of like the cravings, and it's supposed to get rid of the shit in the fat.
See.
They say the fat. Once it burns out of the fat of your
fatty
system,
tissues. But you can't be doing drugs during that, dude. I mean, they would have made that apparent, right? But you're thinking
maybe that's why it didn't work on me, is what somebody else said. Maybe because I was high.
It doesn't work, period, Tony. It's a complete sham program. It's a vitamin overdose.
That I didn't fall in further is because maybe I was.
Hey, it's a really good thing in hindsight that you did do drugs, and that you actually got out of there as fast as possible. So you did everything right, actually.
So, I would be, I remember one time I was in there, and I go in and you do the treadmill, you know what I mean? You do that treadmill to you got to get yourself warmed up or whatever. And you get your olive oil shot.
Yep.
And then I'm in there, and I'm running next to him. I look at the guy next to me, and it's Isaac Hayes.
Like, really? All right.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So that was around the time. If that helps anybody with the time that I was there, it does.
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, you're bringing back a lot of memories.
Okay. and a lot of are coming back. So then, and by the way, during this whole time, since I had this, connection with my friend Kirsty, and they had me around, I kind of went back and forth between, there's 2 saunas in there. Well, there's more than 2, but there's a couple of them in there, and I had access to a different one on the other side. You kind of go underground to a gate. Now, the technology from my memory it was just like a speaker box, I think, and they had a camera, and you would drive up. I don't remember if you pressed a button, but I just know it was on Bronson. Yeah.
I can tell you about that if you want.
Yeah.
So on Bronson, where he's talking about, I think that's what was off of. It's been a long time too, Tony, since I've been there. I haven't been there since 2008. So trying to remember some of this stuff is tough sometimes, but the basic setup is, and what he's talking about where he was at on the studio, that lot was right down the street from Celebrity Center. So what they do is they have an underground parking where you buzz in and they let you in. Anybody can kind of park in the underground, and then they have parking all around, which is hard to find. But there is a special place where you get buzzed into a second gate, which is off to the right. So you go underground, and then if you're a VIP celebrity, you get to buzz the other gate, and that's where the John Travoltas and Tom Cruises and even upcoming people like you. Do you remember 2 gates or 1, Tony, that you had to buzz
I remember both.
Okay, so you probably got, well, didn't you say that, I know we're skipping ahead, but didn't you say you kind of got to the president's office at one point?
Yes.
Okay, and if you did, you definitely would have had that second buzzer gate, probably.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, I had befriended a guy by the name of Tommy Davis.
Yeah. The infamous Tommy Davis, who has since left, by the way.
Anyone?
Yes, to everybody that listens.
Everybody here, y'all know who Tommy. Yeah, I'm fucking around. I know everybody knows who he is.
Yeah, well, not everybody. Do you want to explain like your relationship with him?
Apparently, he is somebody who was real slick and cool back then, but I read stuff later, and he seems just like to be a bit of a media hitman for the organization.
That's a good summary.
That's kind of like what it feels like. And it seems like he was always a busybody doing something.
Yep. They all were, Tony.
Walking around with somebody. He was always doing something and stuff. And
exactly.
So one day, I think we can get to this because I took a couple courses, don't really remember.
Do you remember, was it the student hat? Was it the basic? You really got to that level? You sure that that's student hat?
All I know is that someone told me that it was because I was looking at a wall and a piece of paper upside down.
Okay, I remember that drill. That
that?
Yes.
Is that
well?
Right?
Holy shit!
I really don't remember if that's student hat or not.
No, I think that is. Anybody in the crowd, if you want to let us know, there's a couple of drills like that, Tony, where you have to stare at stuff.
Holy
shit!
Dude.
Remember the fucking student hat upside down. I think that is the actual student hat. Just to clarify, real quick to the audience, bro, so we can put some context in here.
How much did I spend at this point?
Well, let's say that it was $1,500 for the Pure, right? I would say it's probably about $2,500 nowadays, but let's just bring it down to $1,500 in the 90s. And then you probably would have taken a couple basic courses. Do you remember taking any other courses beside the student hat? There
was one real super basic one, and then I think it was one called TRs and Objectives.
Okay. That makes sense because the TRs and Objectives comes right after the purification rundown. So it sounds like you're going up the auditing side of the bridge. Just to clarify for people, they say in Scientology that 50% of your gains come from the training. That's where the student hat falls in, which I'll explain in a minute, Tony, which you did. And 50% of your gains comes from the auditing. That's where you hold the soup cans and have false memories implanted into you while you think you're going spiritually free. So the auditing is the real seller. That's the one they really want to get you on. And in order to deliver the auditing and to be more competent in life,
wait a second. Are you saying there's another road? So what I'm saying is they're setting me up the auditing way. Are you saying there's a different path?
Not a different,
than that. Okay.
But there's 2 at the same time. So they have a bridge to total freedom, which you might remember was all posted around or whatever at the organization. And what they say is in order to deliver the auditing, I know it's complex, man. So I'm trying to explain this as if nobody knows because it really gets complex to try to explain. But the purification rundown that you did is on the auditing side. And then the TRs and Objectives follow that. And then finally, you get up to the level where you get to do the auditing and hold the soup cans. But you're still a little ways away from that at this point. So that's that side of the bridge that you're on. The other side is the training where you train to do the auditing. And they also want to get you on training because they say you're not just training to be an auditor to deliver the tech. You're learning how to be competent in life.
Is Tom Cruise an auditor?
That's a great question. I know he's
Really?
OT7. Yeah. You think I'd have a fast answer for that? I'm sure he is, Tony, but I couldn't tell you what level or
Okay.
what class he got to. But he on the auditing side, what we're talking about, he's at least up to OT7. That's the second to the highest level you can get to, and helps to explain in part why he's so crazy. So anyway, so yeah, so just to put it in context, it sounds like you might have done the TRs and objectives, which would make sense. Guys, we talked about that in the Backflash Fridays with Marcus Sawyer, where we broke down in 3 videos the TRs, and we were going to get to the objectives. I might do that on my own now, but I don't want to give
some
up.
very bad things about the TRs now, that they're
They're
very
the
bad for
setup,
my
my
brain.
man, to put you in a trance and to get you to kind of hypnotically take to the rest of it.
I'm
After they
glad that I was
broke you
high.
down, dude, seriously. Tony, I was high on my second Purif, and because I was resisting ever since I was a kid.
Right.
And that was my
that
out.
was it.
Well, I thought I was being bad, but I finally gave in because I said, oh, weed, dude, growing up and in Scientology was like basically being a heroin addict. So they finally broke my ass down, and that's when I took to it. It all had to do with weed. Now I smoke weed today, not knowing that that was my protection, and I was actually doing things. Even though maybe it's not the greatest thing to be a stoner all the time, it certainly would have been better than being in Scientology and losing my family for fucking 25 years.
Wow.
So again, you made a mistake that you didn't know about, Tony, by meeting the 2 worst people to kind of, electrify you with that bike incident to maybe hook you a little bit into Scientology after seeing the volcano commercial. But you did the right thing all unconsciously by continuing to do coke while you're in the Pura.
Yeah, for sure. And smoke weed,
Amen.
And sometimes I would go across the street to the bar and take a shot before I went in there, or on my break, I would go have a drink,
Right.
across that La Poubelle that, that people
That's
talk
where all the
about
Scientologists hang out.
Would get roofied and shit. I never knew that about La Poubelle.
I didn't know that either until the Danny Masterson revelations
Put it
came
back
out.
up. Put that back up.
Oh, sure. Which one? I don't even know which one it was. Was it Kelly Cross?
Yes.
Okay. I just got here. I respect. Okay. Yeah. Kelly, we're just telling his story.
You want to star this one for later?
Yeah, I'm going to star this one. Kelly, stick around. And by the way, that's a good point to say. What we're doing, if you're just joining us, we're telling his story first, and then I would encourage you to lay out any and all questions that you have for Tony to challenge him, and then we'll be bringing that up after he tells his Scientology story. I think we're probably about halfway.
Me, by the way.
Yeah. Your mom loves you?
My mom loves me, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So yeah, please fire any questions you have. I'm going to star everything that I can.
Okay. So as we get through this sort of situation with the courses or this or that and Tommy Davis and then going, I've actually, I don't want to tell too much of this story right now because I actually promised it to some my members.
But sure.
But this is where it gets into the Kirstie Alley stuff. And, just sort of my interactions with her, which is going to be in my, we're going to do a member chat about that. And it sort of moved to this situation where Tommy Davis one day kind of comes up and says, hey, with it, he didn't have a mustache, but I just picture him going,
I know what you mean.
He was very clean shaven, very well put together, Yep. And so he brought me up to the president's office because I had been leaving. I had not been taking it seriously. I think they kind of knew that I was high. No, let people be judgmental. Let them be. Everybody bring it. Whatever you got, bring it today. Here I know.
Like I said, Kelly, stick around, man.
Yeah, but, we'll be there. Okay. State the fackers. Okay. State those fackers. We'll get to them. Spell check.
Yeah, I got it covered, Tony. You just keep telling the story, and we'll let you feel it.
No, this is one that she's been on my tail for a little bit.
I know.
I know she likes it. So let's continue. The then I start to go up into the president's office. At the time, it was a woman, Susan. I think was her name Susan.
That name does ring a bell.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I can't remember her last name.
But I walk in there, and here's what the problem was before. I thought they were trying to bring me into. Okay, let me just get to who is in the office. I go in there, and John Travolta is in the president's office.
Can I ask you one quick question before you get to that? Have we already covered at this point? Had you done you did the Purif at this point? You may or may not have done the TRs and objectives and whatever. Is this when you've already been introduced to the degree that we've covered thus far when you go up to the president's office, or did this kind of happen at the beginning? Just trying to get the timeline.
Well, at this point, I had already been up there before. You know what I mean? I'd been there. I was like, kind of like, I felt like I felt like Tommy was like my best buddy. All right. And I feel so dumb in saying that. But I guess that's what his job was, to feel like he's your best buddy, you know?
To say something on that, there are people that are posted around, and Tommy was kind of like that. I'm thinking of Alexander Powers and Gavin Potter, who's up on, there's some rape allegations going on with that guy. They put very pretty people out there in the public, like Tommy, Alexander Powers and stuff,
Holy
to get people to come, in and to seduce people like Tony, up and coming actors and such. And that alone, just how beautiful some of these people are, it makes Celebrity Center look even more successful.
I'm telling you, it was like the beautiful people center.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And that's what they wanted you to feel. And that's what I felt. I felt like when I went there, like, ha, 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 I'm going here. Nobody else knows about here. This is where all the big time's happening, you know? Little did I know.
Yes.
Little did I know. So, yeah, it's okay.
I know.
I'm a little more. It's so funny because okay, let's finish the story, because I feel like we got to get to the other part soon.
Yeah. We're almost done
coming
with the story,
to the end of the story of really just like the most exciting part of the whole thing to me was the John Travolta part, because I go in the office
and there the president's office, to clarify, right? Just to let you, just to set the tone here real quick, Tony. So again, if what Tony's saying is true, it all makes sense to me. And since he got kind of the VIP treatment, he would have been targeted as an up and coming actor. Going up to the president's office is where I got to when I finally got cast on the show. Again, Tony, it took me 9 years. You got in right away, and more power to you. These are people like Jason Doring that would go there, Danny Masterson. They were all part of this clique. And when you make it, you usually have to get a series regular on a TV show. You have to have some hot movie out, something that captures Dave Pettit's attention. At the time, I believe that was the name of the president, but someone would have been different, I think, Tony, when you were
when
there.
I was there, it was a woman. I know it was a woman. I don't remember her name, but it was absolutely a woman.
Okay. And what would have happened is he would have been, it's a place where you feel privileged. It's almost as important to be a celebrity in Scientology, if you align with that group, than it is even in Hollywood. So when I got the offer to be scooped into meet Dave Pettit and do the president's office, that's right when that book was dropped off on my doorstep, and I woke up out of the cult in a single day, and my life was about to change. But I was right at the step that Tony's talking about. Please continue.
Okay. So I go in the office and John Travolta's there, and at first I'm thinking to myself, this is very weird. And later on, I thought, oh well, they're taking me to like, yes, thank you.
Does that name ring a bell?
Yeah, I think that's it, Karen.
That would have been the person.
That's irony. Okay. Anyway, let's
sure, man.
Continue.
Stay focused, man. You got this.
Right. And I go in and I see John Travolta there, and I'm on. But in hindsight, I see it's like, oh, they want me to like, like they're gonna want me to be like do some gay stuff with John Travolta or something, which is part of what I understand was there. And it was very weird because he was standing there with a towel and a boner.
That's obviously a joke, right?
That's a joke.
Okay.
So it just felt uncomfortable to me. And after that day, I left. I just was like, I don't even know what the fuck that was about. But as it turns out, they were bringing him out to keep me from leaving. Maybe, maybe, I don't know.
You were weird. Is this the point where you got weirded out enough because you told me on the phone that
weirded me out a lot. Yes.
Let me ask you this. Were you driven more by the celebrity prowess and being able to help your acting career and meet contacts, or were you looking for those superpowers that you saw Jetta and Bodhi go into action, and then when you got into the president's office, you realized it's all bullshit? Or a little bit of both?
I just wanted to quit drugs at first. I just was desperate to quit drugs, and they said they could help me.
Okay.
So that didn't work out. But I really felt like when I got there, there would be these superpowers, that I would get some kind of like advanced, mental thing that would happen to me. It would open up the other 90% of my brain that I don't use. Right. You know what I mean? Like all kinds of whatever.
Those are the promises they make.
Right. I would be able to lift cars. I would levitate cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd be Magneto. Right.
Yeah. He's not exaggerating, guys, by the way. That's really what I thought as a kid. I thought my dad could read my mind. I'd be able to, walk through walls. All this kind of shit is subtly and not so subtly suggested that you will have when you go up that bridge.
Right. So, and I just left. And then that's when people started coming knocking on my door. I'd be walking outside, then they'd be there waiting, and knock, 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 knock. They're there. Why don't you come back in the pier? And they would still be in their little uniforms and shit, And I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, I'm like living in Hollywood, I was living in Hollywood, and it was just like, it was close enough for them to walk to my place.
That's right.
But I feel like even if it was a lot further away, they would still walk. I don't know.
They would. They've actually tracked people all the way across countries. It depends on how badly they want. I lived right across from Celebrity Center, Tony, and they would always show up as Sea Org members. Yeah, exactly. These people would show up all the time. My dad was my handler, so whenever I'd have problems, he would often be flanked by a Sea Org member on his right hand side while he would show up to handle me and get me back on the levels.
Is that what Tommy did?
Tommy was more like the PR guy. He was the pretty boy that I think he wore many hats. Somebody in the chat, Alonzo or anybody that knows, tell me what Tommy's specific thing was, because I never had much interact with him, Tony, so I can't tell you that. He was just one of the people platformed out there to kind of rope people in. I'm not sure exactly what his hat was.
That's really my story, man. That's really kind of it. Like I left, and then, years later, I start my YouTube channel. I'm doing a lot of things about, I'm doing a lot of different stories about, Ghislaine Maxwell. And if you guys see here, a lot of people didn't look at my content. They think I just got on and started yelling at people, right? But
which is fair enough, though, because you came off Aaron's channel. You didn't. That's why I wanted to do this video with you, Tony, to let you tell your story, because gain some credibility. People can check into your past, whether you're full of shit or not, and then introduce that to the new people that you got from Aaron's, rather than jumping in and bashing people right away. I just thought it would lend some more credibility or whatever.
So also, what I had going on is I've interviewed a lot of people. I've interviewed Morgan Wright. Okay, on my channel, you'll see an interview with Morgan Wright. He was the former senior advisor to the Pentagon for the anti-terrorism. Very good friend of mine. And also, I've got Sean Stone, Oliver Stone's son, who's a buddy of mine. Interviewed him. The son of Peter Nygaard, one of the largest, reportedly and worst human traffickers in history. He's
not Canadian. Reportedly, for real. That guy finally got exposed. I didn't know anything about him either. Until
I'm saying reportedly because he hasn't been officially convicted yet. So that's why.
Okay, fair enough.
That's the only reason. Because there could be more crimes that get added on. I think he's in a Winnipeg jail. I think he's going to start to get moved off into the U.S. pretty.
Let's just say he's definitely shady, and just like Jimmy Savile, everybody knew, but nobody called it out until it came out years later.
Right, and that was just recently.
So
that's a 3-hour interview that I got. Not even Chris Hansen got 3 hours with him.
That's right.
And so I've done some really cool stuff. I interviewed Frank Stallone. It's on one of my other channels. I didn't leave it on my YouTube channel because he's not, he ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. He didn't know what the wood was on his guitar. So I just,
he wasn't a fucking Scientologist, was he? Frank Stallone? I think one of the Stallones might have
I'm looking into some things.
All right.
I'm looking into some things. But
So did we kind of hit upon? The questions are lining up. Please, guys, fire them out. Did we hit upon most of your Scientology story, or did you want to continue? Did it basically end after the president's office? Did you ever go back? Did you continue? Was that the part that freaked you out? Like, where does it end?
Well, it freaked me out when they came to my house after that. Then I was really not going back. You know what I mean?
I got it. They can. This is a good point you bring up, because one of the parts where I had to suss people out, like Jenna would have been sussing you out and shit, I knew it was so weird. And to get over that obstacle, I would tell my friends, look, the frickin' tech works. You're going to be blown out of your mind. You got to try this auditing thing. But I recognize too that it's a little weird. They come on a little strong. They might show up at your house, but if you could just get over that, I promise you'll love this auditing. So that was the part. They always overact. They act in such strange ways that they turn you off by who shows up at your fucking house but a dangerous cult.
It's really dumb to show up to a cocaine addict's door who's armed. All I can say is that's real bad.
They don't give a fuck. Their TRs are in, and they're there to salvage you, dude. Even if you did, act on them. They put themselves in dangerous situations.
Yeah, and I mean, as a result of that, a lot of stuff
like kittens in the other chat.
So very, very quickly and briefly, the thing about it is after I left, management gone, nobody returning my phone calls. That was it. Okay.
Got it.
That was it. Everything I ever dreamed for, thought that they were going to help me with, hey, they took it all. Okay. And they never gave it back. And I've been sitting here for 25 years in the land of what if I never walked in that fucking door? Where would I be right now? Or if I stayed, where would I be right now? You know what I mean? Like I have all these what ifs in my head.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable at best, but I do what I can.
Do you think that you were traumatized by the experiences that you went through at Scientology Celebrity Center?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, this is a place that made promises. They had people that, in hindsight, I'm looking at it and I'm like, wait, holy shit. The Sea Org and the staff were trained to abuse me. I was the prey. They were the predators. So now a lot of the bullshit that I get from people really feels like the same attack.
I understand that. I understand that. Shit, did we lose you? Tony, you froze up. If you don't mind, remove yourself and then come back, and I'll actually start taking up some of the questions while he does that. Hopefully he can hear me. I don't know why that would happen. That's very interesting. Oh my God, it's already popping off in the chat. Guys, if there's anything pertinent that I missed, because there's too many comments to take up, plus I'm trying to focus on him, I think we're winding down on the Scientology story. So now would be a good time to throw your questions in there. And like I said, while we're waiting for him to come back, maybe I should remove him. Okay, he removed himself. Okay, so he'll be back. So let's start at the top with some innocuous questions that maybe I can answer before we get into the more of the meat of it. This came in before. What's up, lady? Tony, what do you think of the quote from Ricky Gervais? The good thing about freedom of speech is that you have the right to piss off lots of people at once. By the way, guys, I'm doing my own thing. I already got so many battles, and this isn't my battle with Tony or whatever. I just want to bring him on to hear a story, and you guys be the judge. But I'm an avid supporter of free speech. And that's kind of the angle that I think he would tell you that he's coming out at. Again, I can't justify what he has or hasn't said. I just simply tuned out a while ago. But free speech is an important issue. And, it does piss a lot of people off, as I've experienced recently by speaking the truth. If that happens again, bro, just remove yourself and come back on, and I think we'll be all good.
Yeah, I did. I jumped out.
Excellent.
I didn't know. I saw spinning wheels for a second. Oh, this one, I don't know what that means. What does dines mean?
Okay, I just want to make damn sure we're done with the story.
Yeah,
and you said everything you want to say.
Questions? I mean, like I said, I never got to go back and do any movies. Fair. I had to move on to a totally different thing, and but at the same time, that's kind of when I really started focusing more on music. So there's its own beauty in that, but it didn't come without its price to me mentally, because after losing my management, I really lost myself for a while, and I really got fucked up, and that's when I got into heroin. And fortunately, I would say that I have been opiate free since 1998. So
fantastic. Yeah. What about the other drugs?
3 years.
3 years. And what was the last drug that you took that you
cocaine, alcohol, cigarettes. Those were
cigarettes too. This doesn't drive you nuts or fuck you up.
It doesn't bother me. No.
Okay.
No,
So there you go, guys. That's the basic outline. Thanks
for
sharing
3 years. I'm not high on anything. I'm not on any mental medications,
Okay, fair enough. So you want to start with this, guys? Throw up the questions now. Anything that we just discussed, anything that's been on your mind, and hopefully, Goldie is not censoring anything. I doubt it, but if she does, let me know. So Tony is a troll. I don't know what dines means either, but what say thee to being a troll? Do you not openly admit that?
I mean, I try, look, I'm going to react. What some people call it trolling, but it's actually, what people don't know, because a lot of the people that I'm dealing with, really, a lot of their channels really just kind of broke with this second Danny Masterson trial. Okay. That's really when a lot of these people came out and started to really get a following.
That's correct.
And I'm sorry, but y'all don't know how to YouTube. You don't know anything about it. You're coming in here like it's yours. And first of all, you're coming into my house. All right. I'm not coming into your house. I've been here longer. Okay. I'm daddy. I'm the senior. Okay. I've done my fucking, put my dues in as far as YouTube goes. And you can go all the way back to see my first videos. But I have been involved with YouTube one way or another since its inception.
Oh, Tony, I got to throw something out here real quick before we get into these. Good point. Thank you for the text. I got to read this out and show this to show where you kind of fit into this and where my animosity is coming from. And
Mhm.
that, this isn't to cut over you. It kind of appertains. So stand by. I want to show you guys how this came
Oh
onto
yeah,
my
that's right.
my lines. So listen, man, I'm not gonna you guys have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Since 2 weeks ago, I put out that Over the Rainbow video, and I haven't even gotten into part 2 of the controlled opposition video because all of this other bullshit that's going on. So, you know, it's okay to email me and stuff, but I literally got 100 plus emails, texts, and Facebook messengers. Well, first of all, the support
Thank
was
you. By the way, I just
overwhelmingly
want to say thank you. Thank
for
you
what, man?
for
For,
all
for
the adoration and attention that I'm getting from these messages to you.
Yeah, well, I don't fucking like it because
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's like it no, dude, it's not your
I'm
fault
just fucking
actually.
with you, dude.
It's not your fault, man. This is what I'm saying. Like uh so what what I'm trying to do is in a succinct back with evidence way challenge a certain part of the controlled opposition community because I would suggest that a huge part of the narrative is suppressed and I want the full truth of Scientology. So that's where I'm at. Now, before I've even gotten into that, I've had literally 100 plus emails, text messages, and Facebook messengers that are exact along the lines of what I'm about to read to you. And I'll tell you what's kind of irking me. And it's okay for you guys to reach out. I don't want to suppress any communication or anything, but I have plenty of other things to do than try to individually answer each person that is an SPTV watcher. They don't know what's going on. I told them settle in because there's a whole other story that needs to come out, and it takes time. So I cannot answer all of you guys. And I just wanted to say something where I'm not going to throw your name up, okay? So you don't have to worry about reaching out to me in confidence. But if you're going to send an email like this to me, maybe you'll think twice before dumping shit on my plate that's none of your business. And it's also I cannot stand this kind of stuff. So here we go.
Can I
Hi,
do
Doug.
something right there?
Sure.
What you just said, I want to emphasize it. So that's how we do it on my channel. I just want to give you a little.
Yeah, and that is the part where I do back you up, Tony. Okay. I can't agree with
Thank you.
everything you're saying. Like I said, I have my own
Sure.
opinions.
Yeah.
Variety is the spice of life, but I'm not gonna fucking I'm not a baby and I've been around the
Mhm.
block and I don't like fucking censorship. But I
Me
do
neither.
understand from the other side. So I just want to read this. So I'll tell you
Yes.
where I'm kind of getting, frustrated. So hi Doug, I'm a follower of your channel and also many of the SPTV channels. I admire the work you and the others do to celebrate life, freedom, and the stories people have endured under Scientology. Amen. Excuse me. I do have to say that I am concerned about you agreeing to interview Zero Dark Tony. Again, I don't know this person. Who are you? Have you followed the channel? He's already kind of telling me what I should do, and he hasn't earned any credibility with me. This is just his opinion. His degradation of women, and I'll give you a chance to respond to this, Tony. So please
Mhm.
calm
Yeah,
calm
yeah.
down
No,
while
no,
you hear this.
read
All
it
right.
through. I got you. I got you.
His degradation of women in the SPTV community is quite frankly alarming. Calling me, Goldie, and other women the C word, gathering all of Vanessa's, that's the degraded daughters, who's one of the people that, like you said, jumped on when Aaron started blowing up his channel, then everybody and their
Mhm.
mother got into this. Gathering all of Vanessa's information and posting it on his channel and telling his viewers to do with it what they want is cruel and dangerous. Again, I'll give you a chance to respond, bro.
I got you. Just read
Um,
it through. I'm
sure.
good.
Also referring to her as nothing more than a cum rag and calling Marilyn, I think that would be Marilyn Honig, who does Colts coffees and something else. A Hobby Lobby cum rag is not what I expect from someone in the community. Now, here's the part that's bullshit. You agreeing to give him time to explain his story is nothing more than agreeing with his views. Again, I'll read the disclaimer that I read at the beginning of the video. Like I do for everyone, this channel is a platform for people to tell their Scientology stories, and I would add minus censorship in there. I reject the idea that I am aligning or not aligning myself with anyone. I provide a platform where people can tell and share their experiences. This includes everyone from Chris Malin, who, has an unbelievable story. Frickin' Trinity came on last night and bared her soul. I had Aaron Smith Levin on. Guys, we do not all have the same perceptions. Everybody as a human being is never going to agree on everything. But like I said, being coaxed, and this is a very light example of what I'm showing that encompasses the 100 plus things that I've gotten telling me what I need to do and to quote warn me. But look at, is it really warning me, or is it this person's personal perceptions that might be a little off? So it's not what I expect from someone in the community. You agreeing to give him time to explain his story is nothing more than agreeing with his views. Oh, really? Yes, he does have a Scientology story to share. But what happened to him in Scientology has absolutely nothing to do with his misogyny and abusive relationship. I am asking that you consider this before doing an interview with him. Giving him a voice and a light is harmful. Okay, so you guys know where I stand. I gave the disclaimer. No one's going to tell me what the fuck I can and cannot do. And it doesn't mean that I agree with Tony or any of the other guests that I fucking have on. Did you want to say anything?
That is the simp. Could you put it back up?
Sure, ma'am.
This is the simp. This is what you call a simp letter, okay?
Yeah.
Which means there's no qualification. Now, look, anytime I've gotten, and let me tell you, all the letters that I've gotten on my Facebook and notes that I've gotten when I started doing this, because of all the people that are afraid to come out and tell their horrifying stories, okay, because of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because of fucking people like this, and
they
Kelly.
almost talked me off of actually having an interview with you when I'm capable of making up my own mind. And like I said, I stated what this platform is for. So just the amount of people that I'm whispering in my ear with kind of, I would call these veiled threats, because I don't know this person. Okay. And well, I've been around the block.
I need to address some of these things just individually, because
sure,
I don't want anybody to, have a conniption. And I don't know who this Kelly Cross is, but look, you're the one who is feeding this shit, you dum-dums. And I'm going to just say it my way. I'm sorry. I want to be polite, but
it's okay, man. Be yourself.
Now, okay, well then let me just get myself a little more comfortable. There we go. Okay. So
we're not in any hurry, man. Take your time.
When we go down here, calling me, Goldie, and other women the C word, let's start there. It's alarming. Sure. I don't know if this is a man or woman who wrote.
I'm not going to say the person's name.
Okay. Is it male? Anyway, doesn't matter.
I honestly don't know if it's a male or female, but I
would
don't
imagine
want to
it's
give
a female if they
suggestions.
say misogyny at the thing. So it must be female. That's just what I'm going to
I can tell you this, Tony, almost 100% were from females. Okay. The emails that I got.
Which is also, I have 80% females following in my sub. So I'm real disrespectful misogynist when I have a partner that's a woman that, by the way, none of you's freaking answered and respected. You disrespected my female partner, and that's when I blew up. Now, you're just going to have to learn how to take that. And like I said, you're in my house. This is YouTube. This is not for children to sit there and try and get people's channels taken down. And what you've done is you've opened up a Pandora's box for yourself, Now, let's get a little further down.
I'll read it off. So Kelly Cross.
No, wait. Hold on. I can see it. The C word gathering all of Vanessa's
the email.
Yeah, just the email.
Let me
all of
remove
Vanessa's information and posting it on his channel. Let me tell you something. She has put her name in her frame, her full name on her show. You fucking dummy. Second one is that she also put it on one of her videos on one of her sash. I didn't even find it. Dana found it and told me about it. And I said, oh, well, that's interesting that the same day that somebody decides to dox my information live, okay, which is fine with you, right, Kelly? It's okay if I get doxed. But then when she is so stupid as to put up her name publicly, okay, I'm not vile, Kelly. You are vile. You are one of the most disgusting fucking troons that I've ever dealt with. And to say that I don't deserve a platform, you are a cunt, okay? Sorry. And that's what I call a cunt, is someone who does that to me. Oh, you're not being judgmental. You're staring the Farkers. Okay.
Stating the facts.
Yeah, I get it. But you know what? This is one of the people that started this whole thing. And this is one of the people that suggested that my channel should be taken down. So fuck this bitch. And I will tell you what else.
Tell me how you really feel.
Okay. I will tell you what else. I don't hold back.
Don't hold back, Tony, please. I feel like you're holding back a little, man.
If I invite somebody to my house, I go on a show with Aaron, who's very polite to me. I had a great time on the show, got some great results from it. The person who was on the panel with me, the very next day put some shitty comment that we're spreading dangerous misinformation, right?
I saw that.
What's up, Corn Diff? Dangerous misinformation, okay? Which is, first of all, when you go and do that on YouTube, you're opening yourself up because you're giving, there's an actual, when you look at fair use and you look at commentary and reaction, oh, hey, sweetie, there's Dana.
Is that Dana?
Yeah, that's
Jules?
Dana.
Hey, Dana.
Why don't you read that out?
If I'd argue he's not a misogynist for standing up for me for Vanessa's lies. Vanessa is the degraded daughters. And like I said, I'm out of this fight. I don't have anything. I don't have anything to say about these people.
But remember, we're letting the chat fly. So it's just going to happen the way it happens.
Fair enough.
So, you know, basically when people do that on YouTube, and especially if you're dumb enough to be 2 months old and not have the etiquette on YouTube to actually go and, oh, hey, Cold Beer Confessional is in here. By the way, Cold Beer is also going to be, what you have done with these grifts and things that I've brought up that nobody looks at. There he is, Will Bird. Hey, buddy, thanks for coming by. Y'all are going to hear a lot from Will about this because this is interesting to him, because Will is somebody who goes after grifters. Okay. And this is just what we do. And I'm sorry that people don't want to hear what I have to say or look at the evidence or the facts that I have. Right. But that's not my problem. That is your problem. I have something called the First Amendment. If I want to call someone a faggot, if I want to call someone a cunt, I will. And none of you will stop me. So that's it. Now, I was going to come in here and I was going to try this a little bit more nicely, but I see that these fucking bitches want to come at me. And I'm sorry, Doug. Just give me a second. I'll bring it around. Dude. I got this.
Sure.
But these bitches want to come in here and try and push me like this is Apex fucking Legends or Call of Duty. Okay? You do not understand me. You do not understand my resolve. You think that you're doing that. You're just pouring more gasoline on a fire. You think you're scaring me? You're dumb. Okay? So anyone who is in here, if I call you a Hobby Lobby cum rag, well, then that's what you're acting like. And that's at the moment what I see is appropriate. And that's free speech, baby. And if you want to come at me and have Chad make little videos, then I've got content for the next 10 years. You guys are just throwing it onto me. And if you don't like swearing, you know, then I don't know what to tell you. Change the channel. Read the Constitution.
It really is that simple. It really is that simple. Philosophy says it's so stupid to think people, because you interview someone, you must agree. What about the people who interviewed Ted Bundy? Or that's on me. But there's one other one I want to pull up.
I'm calm again. I'm okay.
No, that's cool, man. It's okay. You can say whatever. We do have free speech here, so you can say whatever you want. Actually,
like and subscribe over my channel.
Telling people to report a creator in their chat and other chats is a crappy thing to do. Yeah, agreed.
They doxed me. They put out my private information. They are brigading against my channel to have it shut down. They report and report and report. They dox me in live streams, you know.
Just want to let you know you're upsetting Hubbard. He's going to definitely be sending the fair game freaks on you.
I'm sorry, Ron. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's free speech. If you don't like, unsubscribe. So when all these people are yelling in my ear, you know what I did? I just simply stopped following Tony and unsubscribe. It's really as simple as that. You don't have to feed into what you don't want to.
Or like anybody, take the email out if you want. If you want to take the email, I'm done with the email.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So yeah, the shit's firing off. So I'm going to try to keep up with everybody. Again, there's no. I want to say something real quick. When we're done with this video and it publishes on his channel and mine, can you please leave comments for anything that we didn't get to ask or whatever? Because we're not going to get close to covering this. I can, you know, whatever you want to say, drop it in the comments, and maybe we'll do a part 2 where we just do a Q&A, or maybe not. But whatever. I don't want you to think that I'm missing your comments. There's just too freaking many.
You know, so, here's the thing: is that people people want to act like bullies, right? And they don't want to be spoken against. You know what I mean? Oh wait, here we go. This Cold Beer Confessional one. This is see that one from Will.
Okay.
Can you put that? Okay,
sure. Cold Beer Confessional. Let me grab him.
Yeah, if you could put that one up, the latest one. Okay, listen to this very carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Hear me now and hear me later. All right, hear ye, hear ye. Listen to this very carefully, dummies. The YouTube creator golden rule has always been to never condone mass reporting of others, even if you disagree. Do you fucking hear that? Do you know how long do you know the audience that this guy has had and built up and been deleted because he talks the way I do? He just goes straight for the truth. Truth is one flavor, baby. It's not 31 flavors. It's not your truth. It's not my truth. It's the truth. Capiche? And if you don't like it, that's why it hurts. I love you.
On a lesser level, I've been the victim of what he's talking about since literally I started the
Will. I
fucking
appreciate
channel.
You, buddy.
So, you know, that's where I stand. I have a pretty thick skin. Like I said, I don't condone everything that Tony said and other people, but I certainly don't go on a campaign to try to mass report, and free speech has to prevail above everything else, or our world's fucked. And that's the direction that we're heading in. So that's the part that I do back you up 100% on, man. Is that, you know, you cannot report mass people. You cannot gang up. And if you don't like it, click the fuck off. It's really simple.
People just aren't used to having people be direct with them. They're so used to having a control.
Especially with the woke bullshit. You know, it's really getting fucking absurd. Where
I'm a misogynist.
I definitely am on the same page of you with that. So
I
let's
might have said, look, I have a lot of females. Why do I have all these women in my audience? I have like
because
over
they like the
100
bad
members.
boy, Tony. They like being talked dirty and shitty too.
I got to slow it down sometimes.
Slow your roll, Holmes. We're just getting started here, man.
I know.
So
I just wanted to let people know I'm here.
It's all good, man.
I'm warmed up.
Lori plays. I don't think people should lose a platform, but I don't understand how some of the terrible things being said about people can be monetized. I had to step away because I didn't feel it was productive. There you go, Lori. You stepped away. You want to take that?
Question, but it is a great question. And
yeah,
now terrible things being said. Well, there are certain rules and terms of service and community guidelines. Now, when you do certain things in certain contexts, I'm doing reaction and commentary videos. This is a legitimate genre on YouTube. Okay, this is and I've been showing on my own channel other channels that do what I do, and then you could see how nice I am. All right, that's what I basically do. I'm nice. You guys don't know shit about this thing. None of you know about YouTube. Why don't you come over? Get yourself a little $1.99 prospect membership on my channel. I'll teach you internet, okay? I'll teach you how things work and stuff. But when you try to censor somebody, you are going to get a lot of other people, because now what they've done is they've opened up a whole other can of worms.
Believe me, I'm dealing with it on this end from a different angle.
Oh.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
the
dealing
whole
with the
free
same
speech
bullshit.
community is now coming out. And there's another show called The Deep Share that Dana was on the other night. And I'm telling you, these people are going to start talking about this, because this is bullshit. The best thing these people could have done was to apologize immediately, but they didn't. So now
I have to agree with you that, again, from a different angle. So I don't want to attack anybody, Tony. I have a different style, but man, I got to tell you, the last freaking 2 weeks listening to the emails, unacceptable.
Yeah, it's
and it's not everybody. It's just a select group of people. The support has been overwhelming, actually. And I just want to say real quick, thank you so much, guys, because I didn't know. Again, more to come, but I did kind of put myself on the line, and I just wanted to say all the emails, the comments, and everything. It's kind of brave to actually, leave a comment on the video and put yourself out there and support. I just want to say the support's been overwhelming. I don't have time to get back to everybody, but God damn it, thank you. That means a lot to me. Now, how about this one, Tony? Let me read this off from Ramble On. But Vanessa, and this is kind of a point I think is a good point. But Vanessa is young and obviously very ignorant. I don't want to. I'm just going to read her comment.
Read the comments, man.
But Vanessa is young and obviously.
You want me to
again, the disclaimer. I do not. I reject the idea
one.
that I am aligning or not aligning myself with anyone.
Let me take the heat off you. I could read this one if you want. I'll read it. But Vanessa is young and obviously very ignorant, because she needs to understand that no one is all good or all bad, and one can appreciate something someone did but never think they're perfect, because you'll be very disappointed. True. I mean, like when you are not experienced and you come into a realm where you're like going into the arena with the samurai. You know what I mean? We are the Ronin of this platform. And if you F with certain people, the ghouls come out.
Now, there's
a lot, the history of that word is amazing. Pulling up the history of the word of cunt.
Would you like to enlighten us? Didn't you say it comes from, you use a play on it or something from
yes.
some Hindu?
I sent you I think you got the link.
I didn't get any link like that, but I was told that you have something to say about the word cunt or something. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if people know history, and Kunti is, a Hindu goddess, and a lot of the Kunti shrines and things were considered vulgar, and they were destroyed by conservative neocons like you retards. So, Kunti, if you want to look at it, is cunty. I'm Italian. We say gabagool, cappuccino. We just dropped the last vowel off for everything. I'm calling you goddesses. You don't even know it. And that's just, you could play with words. You understand? Like, you want to mess with words with me? Well, I could just come back and say that. If I was to make a statement of what I was saying, I could say that. See, you have to understand that once it's down, it's down. Once you set it on camera, internet never forgets. Don't be dumb. And this will not happen to you. Not what's happening to me, because I love this shit.
I get that about you.
This gets my pulse going, because this
sorry. Yeah, well, I was just going to say, back into the realm that you're riffing on, and back into the realm of wokeism. When you stoop low, you lose your platform. Now, could you please explain that, Elsie? Because they have very specific things that you can and cannot do. YouTube censors certain stuff, but I don't even want to say the word because let's just say that they do censor certain stuff. That's why I went for broke on my channel at the very beginning. I was like, I'm going to talk way outside the box of fucking Scientology. So I just went for broke. I'm like, my channel will be down in a year. But I've learned since then that they will allow quite a bit, and the rules are pretty strict. It is hard to get a channel taken down. So what about stooping low, lose your platform? There's very specific rules. You know, what say thee to this, Tony?
Well, you know, this is somebody who doesn't know YouTube. And I could tell just by this statement, and sorry, Elsie, but you don't know how things work and stuff. Okay. Like you're one of the retards that I'm talking about. And I have no problem with addressing people directly. I'm very direct because this is dumb. And I'll tell you why. People say there are never dumb questions, but I will tell you that. Can you bring it back, please?
Sure, man. If I have it starred, because
okay.
there's so fucking many. I'm trying to keep up.
I got time. Okay. And when you stoop low, first of all, wow, what a generalized statement of stoop low. What? First of all, shut up. Go back and come back with a better question later. Just forget this one. Never mind. I changed my mind.
Doug, do you support Julie Never Ends dictating to me? Borderline, I'm not sure quite what that's referring to. Hit me up in the comments and clarify, because I have a feeling we're going to do a part 2. So I will answer that. I just need some clarification. Thanks, man. Tony, do you want me to, let me start at the top, okay? Because it gets more and more intense, and then it's impossible to
Whatever
keep
you
up with
want to
all
do,
the ones
bro.
that are coming in.
Take it all, man.
Sure. We'll just keep going. And then, like I said, guys, please leave all the comments that I miss, because I'm going to miss a lot in the comments, and we'll fucking take them up, man. Nothing.
Yeah,
there's no censorship here.
I consider this a salad before my dinner.
Okay, so we covered that one. So Rita, telling his story is the most protecting environment on the community.
Thank you, Rita.
Amen. At Kelly,
Spain. She's from Barcelona.
Paris Cashin, how you doing? Kelly, who are you to decide whether someone has a platform? Yeah, exactly. We live in a free country, and you are the one being a bully right now. I don't have anything to add to that. Do you?
Well, I believe that Kelly is a little, maybe she should go read something called the First Amendment. I mean, maybe she needs to just read that again. Because if you'll notice one thing, Doug, let me just tell you this. You dummies keep reporting my videos. They're already monetized. Okay. I get a human review and I bring it out. Okay. Now, sometimes when I say enough curses in a row, I'm very aware that my monetization is going to be limited, but I'm not going to lose it all. It's just going to be limited. And there are very specific rules on YouTube. And if you think that I don't know them, then you're very fucking dumb.
That's part of why I don't monetize at all, man. Sorry to interrupt. I was just saying, yeah, dude, I don't want to wait 30 seconds to curse. I don't give a fuck about any of that, man.
I don't get enough views for it to matter anyway.
Exactly.
To see the green.
You should see, I could imagine what the payment is, and all your videos are set to yellow. Dude, 90% of my videos were yellow when I first started. So I'm like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, you know, I mean, look, they're trying to get videos taken down that have already been reviewed. They're not smart. They don't know how the internet works. If the videos are still up, they've already gotten to the point because I have complained about you. You guys are brigading and harassing me. I've shown YouTube screenshots of you dummies. And guess what? Degraded daughters might lose their channel as a result.
Yeah, that's actually right. What he's saying there.
Fucking people have really brought screenshots and evidence to YouTube. You guys just don't like what I say. And YouTube doesn't like that shit. And they don't like newbies who get into the YouTube partner program that I've been in for years. You coming in thinking because you just got your fucking channel monetized that you know something. You don't. You're a little girl. Sit on the bench and shut your mouth and make a sandwich.
All I would retort on that, Tony, is
sorry. I went a little far there, but
no, you didn't. You can say whatever the hell you want, man. I'm not trying to cramp your style. I just want to piggyback on what you just said. What the fuck did you just say? Because I just lost my train of thought.
Never mind. Forget it.
Oh, no, it was important too, man.
I was talking about how you can't come in here and dictate the rules.
Right. Yeah. I just wanted to say, and why I wanted to bring you on to tell your story is because I got to tell you, my man, it took me 3 years to get up to speed on everything you're talking about. Understand, most people do not know how YouTube works, and they're also hiding anonymously. If you guys start a YouTube channel yourself, man, you will treat people differently. Because one, you'll learn a lot about YouTube and what they, the censorship shit. But I know that most of the audience doesn't know that. It's a whole different ball game between hiding behind your little thing and saying something and actually having the nutsack to come on here and deal with all this shit. You have to have a thick skin. There's definite rules about what you can and cannot say. And yeah, you're right, man. They don't understand YouTube, but that's understandable from my perspective.
You know, and these people are playing these little dumb games, you know, like you understand that the technology goes both ways, right? You understand that the people I know worked at the Pentagon, right? So like whatever, do whatever you got to do, but you're being dumb and you are trying to maliciously affect my content. And when I started and I came into this community again, because I started to see a couple years back, I saw that first miscavige trafficking story down there in Florida. And I was like, okay, well, what's going on here? And I started to look on YouTube, it's a, thank you, Eva.
Yeah, really, you just have to tune off. It's just so simple. It's
like,
so simple.
What do you?
Oh, thanks.
Thanks
I'm not a legend. I'm just fucking a dude trying to navigate all this bullshit. Okay, Kelly, again, I mean, welcome. You've really dominated the chat, and you shall be heard. Again, I never said Tony shouldn't have a platform. I said I wish Doug wouldn't platform. Really? Why, Kelly? Please tell me in the comments. Doug could do what he wants. You're damn right I can, and I will, no matter what you guys say. Doug, I'd awesome. I don't get that. If Tony wants to spend 4 hours a day screaming about us, he can. Yeah, and ignore him, Kelly. Simple as that.
Now, what I'm saying here is like, I absolutely should have a platform, and I do have a platform. And you know what's funny, Kelly? No matter what you've done, you haven't been able to take my channel down, have you? You hate it. It drives you nuts. Keep trying. Because they know that you have been what's called brigading, and that is against the terms of service.
That's right.
Okay. Brigading, when you tell people, and dumb, I have screenshots of you saying, go report the channel for harassment. You could put Chad back up there.
Again, they just don't understand YouTube, and I think a lot of misunderstanding is coming from that. They really protect the crap out of creators in a certain way. Again, there are a couple subjects you can't talk about, but for the most part, I think that a lot of people just don't understand YouTube. And from my perspective, that's understandable, Tony, because I didn't know dick about this, and it's taken me 3 years to learn all the shit that I'm still learning about that you're talking about.
Right. And here's another thing is that I understand that I was accused of calling somebody a faggot. Okay. What was the context?
Serge Delmar.
Okay. Yeah. And I would welcome, because what I did was I went to some people and I sent them a message and I said, please send me a clip of me calling Serge a faggot and give me the fucking time code. I want to see it. And guess what? We reviewed our transcripts and it didn't happen. So the people who were saying that, you're fucking liars. Okay,
Kelly, I don't know the beef between you two, but whoever left that comment
you're a liar,
that said we should get his channel taken down, I wish I could show the thing. That's completely unacceptable. I wish I should have prepared that one because I don't know if it's Kelly or not. So Kelly, I just simply don't have the data, but you definitely seem to be active and you're welcome to be heard as well as everybody else.
Keep trying.
Danny Cook, Kelly, you haven't stopped. Saying it once is normal. Saying it a few times is reasonable. So new people see it, but you're being perceived as unhinged. That's from Danny Cook. Yeah. Again, I don't have the data, so I can't say.
This is the audience. Who was that? That was Data. Yeah.
For anyone calling him a misogynist, why he's the only man who stood up for Chad, implicating. Do you want to read this, man? Because I'm going to fuck it up.
For everyone calling him, and I'm going to explain the context. For everyone calling him a misogynist, that's why he's the only man who stood up for Chad, implicating he would have me on his channel whenever he wanted when I've never spoken to him. So Chad got on this thing and said he's going to have one of my co-hosts on, but he also said, oh, I'm going to have Dana on. I'm going to have Dana on like he owns her. Okay, let me tell you something.
Owns her, or did you want to interview her? What's the context?
No, he said, Dana will come on the channel. She'll come on the channel, The kid is the classic fucking douchebag who is really just being told what to do by Marilyn. He's just a monkey. I'm sorry. And you all know it. And I say the truth. And that's why you guys don't like me, because I pull your covers, because I don't give a fuck about you. Come to my door. See what the fuck happens.
My response on that, like I said, no, it's okay, man.
But this is my.
I don't have anything against. I don't have anything against Chad or Marilyn or any of these people. But my focus is on. Like I said, Tony, I gotta
fight for it a little bit.
I understand. I have too. But I'm not going to knock on these people. But the thing is, my perspective on that is much of the. Well, you remember when Aaron blew up his channel, right? And everybody and their mother started a community, which is great because it's a place for people to land. But the newbies, the SPTV watchers, if they don't, I mean, the rabbit hole goes so goddamn deep, not just in Scientology, but getting out, that I do feel like people just don't have the data. So the SPTV watchers, Chad and stuff, there's something
While
about
you're talking,
living.
I'm going to grab some water. Okay.
Sure, go ahead. There's
Look.
something about living the experience, my friends. Like I have a dog in this fight because, I lost my family. You guys know my story. And it's impossible to explain. Maybe like being in the military where, you come back and you have PTSD and you might feel like unless somebody else lived it, you can't really understand it. So I try to break down succinctly as if nobody knows anything about this to take them dot by dot, step by step. But ultimately, there's so much that I just personally feel with the newbies that are coming on the block that they don't understand. They speak out of turn as if they know what they're talking about versus, someone who's actually lived it and it's been through every level of this goddamn thing. So that's why I don't have the same aggressive style as Tony, but I definitely feel his pain, man, because I've been outcasted too from the community. I'm kind of the conspiracy nutter of the community. I've never been welcomed. I never got promoted by Karen. I don't give a fuck. I don't
We're
want to have,
weird.
yeah.
We're just weird, dude.
Well, I just want the truth, dude. And I just don't do games and bullshit. I think
Right.
that's pretty obvious to
And I
anybody.
just wanted some people who haven't seen me before to really just kind of experience how I respond to stuff on my channel.
How about this one, Tony?
Want to hear a story?
Fanatic 757. I want to hear a story. And by the way, if you're just joining us, he did tell a story in like the first hour. And that's all we were going to do on this channel. But this crap has to be addressed because it's just like I said, the number of emails telling me what I need to do and blah, blah, blah. I want to hear a story. He comes across as very angry on his channel. So there has to be a reason. And I'm interested to find out why.
Well, that's a great question. And I've always been the type of person when someone tells me to sit down or shut up or not say this, well, guess what's going to happen?
Yeah,
the very opposite. So I'm also someone who has a lot of trauma. Like there was a period of time in my life when I was involved with some people, and I'm going to tell you a quick story.
Sure.
I get back from Vegas. We drive back from Vegas. Go to my friend's house. He lived down in like the Beverly Grove area.
Mm-hmm.
All those like older kind of super cool places like
They're exactly where Beverly Glen is.
Yeah.
Super rich.
Yeah, very nice. So we pull up, we go to the trunk of his car. And this is after Scientology, right? We go to the trunk of his car, open his car. He's standing right next to me like here. And somebody comes up behind him and takes an automatic rifle and just goes right up his back and blew. I'm trying to hold on YouTube. Hold on. And the contents of his dome ended up all over me. Okay. And he was gone like that. Right. And they were literally picking the bone fragments out of me from my friend. So what do you think you're going to do to me?
That's kind of the attitude I have from a different angle. I survived Scientology, that whole experience, which I haven't even laid out in season 3, not least because of the channel getting taken down and all this shit. That might be on me. I'm not blaming anybody, but I died a long time ago. My fear got removed so long ago. I went through everything. The thing that I'm most thankful about Scientology is they took fucking everything away from me, and I still survived. So they can't take anything from me, including killing me. It literally removed all the fear. Now, if someone put a gun to my head, I would obviously have a reaction and not want to die. But all the other little pussy stuff, I died a long time ago, man. So I am about the cause, and this kind of little shit. It's just so weird because that was a lifetime ago that I used to care about that stuff. When you have your life on the line and they take everything from you, it changes you, and little petty stuff goes by the wayside.
Well, I also think that there's a lot of parts of this, community and things that people just really have to become, you say you're more so accepting, but really people are still just in this fair game programming because the cruelty is bred into the programming and they think everything's okay. See, I wasn't there long enough to get the full on zap that a lot of people got, fortunately. But, this cruelty and thinking that you could just do anything to your enemy, that doesn't work in the real world. I'm not anybody's enemy. Just because I have a big mouth. And you know what? I make jokes about people. Nora makes jokes about people. You don't hear them crying. You don't hear, some of these other creators that I get made fun of all the time. Look at what's happening to me today. You know what I mean? You respond in your own way, but you don't let it end your happiness or your existence. And I certainly don't gauge who I am based upon my following. You know, what will it
Okay.
take for what to be over?
Probably all the drama or whatever saying. Like I said, Tony, I'm hitting
Okay.
it from a certain angle
I
where there
got you.
are certain dangerous people in the community. That's why I'm trying. It's just like, it's not about infighting for the sake of infighting, but that's a whole nother story. So let's just go down the list here. So we covered that one.
I hear what you're saying. That's a big question.
What one? The previous? Yeah, exactly. It is. And I can't even get to it because of all this bullshit. Philosophy, what's up, my friend? The video of his I saw, I thought he had the right to be angry, and he was talking about people who deny that there is ritual abuse. Exactly. I remember what set that
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
That was Vanessa
really,
that said that. And by the way,
Mhm.
Vanessa, you tying in, I gotta say something here. Because that's what really gets my go-to and why I don't have much to do with the community anyways. It just wants to microscopically focus on Scientology and Miscavige. It does go much deeper, Vanessa. And when you left that comment about satanic ritual abuse, SRA being fake and a psyop and satanic panic and tied to QAnon, that's complete bullshit. So I can see why he got angry. Again, I would handle that differently. I know people aren't aware of the rabbit hole.
Well,
I'm not saying I have everything right. So
I'm also a survivor of ritual abuse, and let me
I
tell you, it is
understand where the
real.
anger comes
It's
from,
fucking
dude.
real.
Yeah, I can see why that would piss you off. But like I said, I assume people don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes, so I just take a little more calm approach in laying it out. But that's kind of shit pisses me off, Tony, too, because I've been dealing with the same shit on my channel. Okay, so that's philosophy. Thank you very much for that. Okay, JP Hanks, what sticks out in your mind at the president's office the most? Again, if you're just joining us, Tony told a story, and that's what this refers to.
There was
Is this when John stuck his
everything was
penis in your mouth?
that
Or
was John had the boner in the towel. It was his boner. I was
come
looking at his
on, man.
boners
What
now.
you do when you were telling me over the phone? It sounded like you said that they were quiet, not much was said, and you were wondering if you were going to get whacked. So
I
can you
felt
describe?
really weird. It felt so strange. Like it really did feel like that moment when Joe Pesci walks in to in his last moments of Goodfellas. They're like,
Did it really feel like that? Because, dude, he's not. I wasn't there, so he's not exaggerating. But everything about the Celebrity Center is so creepy to me now
Yeah,
that I've been
dude.
out of it that
Well,
I can't
first
even
of all,
understand why I thought that was
yeah.
normal. It's really creepy.
First of all, what the fuck am I doing in a room with John Travolta? Why are they bringing me in here?
Right.
It's very surreal.
Totally,
Like,
dude.
Jesus.
They were Tony, they were love bombing you. I don't think you were there to suck his dick. They were just trying to starry eye you because if your story checks out, which it sounds credible so far. Again, guys, do your own research, like retort what he's saying as a story or whatever. If he lived what he said, that would be traumatizing. Celebrity Center is kind of fucked up. It doesn't answer for all of his
I felt like
problems.
shit after that, man. I felt like
How
fucking,
come?
because I felt like it was a gay thing at the time. I didn't realize that he was there to suck my dick. You know what I mean? In a sense.
That's not out of the realm of possibility too. But like I said, I think that they would put you in the room with John Travolta to show you what could be your possibility. I have some stories on John Travolta, by the way, Tony, with other actor friends that I know. The creepiness and the Celebrity Center with him. There's much more to talk about that. You might not be off the mark.
We got an episode on my channel coming up then with you.
Oh, dude, I have so much to say about all this shit. But like I said, I haven't been able to get into it because of all the people emailing me about this shit.
Well, me and Dana will do a panel and stuff, so we'll have
fair enough. Fair enough, man. What has he said about Goldie?
Oh, I said that Goldie, I feel like Goldie and Nora, all right? And I'll just answer the question. I felt that Goldie and Nora could have intervened, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But it seems like Goldie and Nora could have intervened in this situation and helped de-escalate it. And maybe I threw a cunt in there.
Fair enough.
And
here's Goldie up next. Kelly, he's responding to Kelly Cross, I believe. Kelly Doug's entire purpose is to be a platform for people to tell their Scientology stories. Thank you, Goldie, because I didn't want to read out that disclaimer again. And that this interview and chat would consist of that and that only. Right. So I was going to tell a story, Goldie, and that's what we discussed the other day. But, it turned into so many emails that will not stop that I finally said, you know what? Why don't we take up the controversy as well after he tells his story? Because that's all we were going to do. And Tony totally agreed with that. He had no problem with that. He's like, I would love to just tell my story. He didn't even want to get into any of this shit. So long as we stay on that, we will decide what we stay on.
Mm-hmm.
Escaping the cultiverse. Hey, my friend. So DDT thought he was being set up by JT's boy toy.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And that's why I felt like such shit, because I was like, I thought I was supposed to be talented and stuff. And now they just want me to gay up to Vinny Barbarino. He didn't even do a voice for
Think
me.
of the possibilities, Tony. Your career would have skyrocketed. Again, I have a story about that with this specific actor that I'm thinking of who might have done just that.
Yeah.
So, Paris Cashin. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, my friend. Kelly, are you trying to instigate a fight? Again, this is in reference to Kelly Cross. I'll have to watch the chat back to see how active she's been. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Distracting from the story makes it about you getting old. It's a very good point.
Well, she has a channel and she does want attention, and I do have a much larger following than her, so I could see her trying to ride this. It's the way it works.
Well, we'll promote her channel too.
Yeah.
Kelly,
Follow her.
Give me a link or something in the comments. I'll put it in the description box. So because people need to make up their own mind about everything. So throw your channel out there and we'll put it in the description box. Danny Cook, the stuff Tony says for entertainment makes me cringe, but to say victim makes me really uncomfortable. So I would assume that has to do with you claiming that you were victimized in any way by Scientology. Do I have that correct, Danny? Let me know if not. What do you say to that?
I don't feel like a victim now, but I feel like I was prey then. Now I feel like I'm a survivor. I'm not victimized by anything. I'm not the victim of anything. I'm not. I am someone who has survived, and as a result, I think I've learned a lot of hard lessons in life, and I think I'm at the best I've ever been right now. And just because hey, what's going on, Steve? And just because I speak the way I speak, it's because I feel like someone's poking at me. So what do you want to do?
What's up, Steve? Good to have you in the house, sir. And give me a call, brother, because we got some things to talk about.
Get on a panel. Everybody get on a big panel.
Thanks for the comment, Tony. Danny. And Danny, if you have anything to clarify on that, I've seen people in Scientology for 2 weeks that have not been able to crack out of it and have fucked them up the rest of their lives, and people that have been in for 10 years and escaped no problem. So I don't know. I try to stay away from trying to compare dicks in terms of trauma. Scientology can really fuck up some people, maybe that are overly sensitive or the artist type. And like I said, some people can go unscathed. Well, I'm not sure about that, but they say they can and they carry on with their life. So I don't know.
Look, I can't possibly imagine having to I know that I felt like there was some pressure, and my mother felt some pressure that there was, they were pressuring a separation thing between. So that was another thing that I forget that really, because you just mentioned your family. They kind of, and my mother mentioned this because I've been talking with her about this recently, and she mentioned, they were pressuring you to, not talk to me, and so there was that. I mean, I didn't really remember it, but she remembers a conversation that we had about it, so that was another thing that I think added to the fact that I really wanted to not be there. And I didn't get any superpowers anyway, and I wanted them like that, and they didn't happen. So I was done.
I'm telling you, if you would have just sucked John Travolta's dick, the superpowers would have been apparent. You didn't stick it out long enough, bro. Kelly's back again. I think we're just going to kind of move on with other people so she doesn't hog the whole thing.
Nothing he has gone through.
Again, Kelly, anything you want to add? I don't delete the comments, so you can say whatever you want in the comments.
Yeah. Nothing he has gone through deserves what he said.
Now, how do you know that? I can't even take this seriously, my man. This kind of shit angers me. I know. So do you mind if we just move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's go. She's just worried about words. She's got no point.
Danny, again, let me just jump to some people that we don't hear because we're never going to get through any of this. Tony, did COS ever bother to, quote, declare you? It's odd who they do and do not go after. Well, they go after everyone, Evelyn. It all depends on... I mean, they showed up at his fucking door, the Sea Org people, to get him back on staff. They go after the people that blow
with the little shorts and the tucked in collar. They got the freaking tennis fucking alligator Izod shirt or whatever. Those.
Well, their uniforms now look like they work at some steakhouse or something. I mean, they're very corny uniforms, but they're
back then. It was like the person that came to my door. They had white T-shirts. They were like They were down in the Purif working. They had. Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. Did they ever declare you, man?
I don't know.
Yeah, I never got declared either, Evelyn, and look at what I've done. So it's all... I don't think... What I've heard is...
Can I have a copy of my certificate? Do I get one?
What I've heard is that they don't declare people anymore because they don't want people having that goldenrod and that whatever it's called, the declare. It's like on... it's a very special thing they used to give out to intimidate you. I heard that they stopped doing that because they don't want to give people like me, because I'll show it and everything. They don't want it out there, man. So I think they kind of skipped doing that. Ramble on. Would DD, that's Degraded Daughters, have ever commented what she did or talked so rudely to another creator on SPTV like she did to Tony? No. Actually, no one in YouTube would ever talk to another creator that way because it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, people really do understand the golden rule here. And if I had a beef with Will, I wouldn't go on his chat. If I have a beef with Doug, which I did, I either say it on the microphone or I get in touch with him personally. I don't fucking go goon out in his comments and shit. That's what's called truny. You're a retard. Fucking stop eating the paint chips. You know what I'm saying? Relax. Everybody
Timothy.
just touch some grass. Kelly, walk away from this. Whatever screen you're on, Kelly, please let me help you right now. Allow me, Doug.
Sure.
Please. Kelly, go touch some grass. Walk away. Just go do something. Come back and watch us later, okay? Because you watch me enough.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that one. So Timothy MC, Doug, I appreciate you doing this. No problem. The people who are pissed off have been trying to deplatform Tony. Completely understood, my friend. I'm just going to barrel through these, Tony.
Yeah.
And anything that captures your attention, jump in. And then, because I just don't want to miss everybody. Plus, there's super chats coming in off your channel, which I want to cover, etc.
Yeah.
Tuesday, Thomas. The reason I think trolls might be OSA, but I don't know, is because this would follow the same reasoning as creating a hate website in the name of an ex-Scientologist.
Yeah, I'm not that important, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm waiting for my hate website. That would be freaking awesome.
That'd be awesome, but I'm not that important, really.
I love you guys that either have or put dogs into your profile picture. Super cute
buddy.
right there. Cans Ferns. He's already blaming people for using the term misogyny as being from women. If that doesn't get more crystal clear, I just don't know what to say.
Well, a lot of people I'm not bothered by that. I don't even know what context they're saying it in. I have women around me all the time. I have a co-host who's a woman who has constantly said that is not true. And guess what? I'm listening to her. I'm taking her word for it. Oh, here we go.
Dana can speak for herself. Women are so empowered until it's inconvenient for them, and then they become delicate flowers that have to be handled with child gloves. She slandered me, period.
There you go.
Elsie. When you stoop low, you lose your platform. Again, that
one.
ridiculousness was handled earlier.
Yeah.
Borderline, thanks, man. That's on Tony's channel. So there you go, buddy. You got a $1.99. Juliana Never Ends told me I shouldn't be watching CBT.
A lot of people say that. And
anytime someone tells you what you shouldn't be watching, I have the kind of same reaction that Tony does. That's the first place I go, and then I make up my own mind.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, my man. JM, Dana, there is no way he talks about women like that and treats you with respect.
Okay, fair enough. That's your opinion. I think she completely disagrees with you, but
I'm not trying to take it down.
Again, Kelly.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. Noted. JP Hanks, what chaps my hide are the people coming into a community of wounded and healing people and using the same cult tactics that hurt them. You mean Jeffrey Augustine and Karen De La Carriere? Who are you referring to? Because we have yet to have that be addressed, and they're welcome to come on anytime rather than run around like with their pants on fire. How can people, hey, Shayna, right? If I have that wrong, please let me know in the comments afterwards. How can people who are never ends, just like me, dictate who others should not watch? Blocking people in chats, groups on other platforms who just chat in here. Gross. Yeah, I don't do any fucking blocking at all because it's pussy unless they're complete trolls or really,
Would you like to know the creator term for that?
What's it called?
Gay ops.
Gay ops. Okay.
Yeah, we call it gay ops. So if I'm going to go into someone's chat and I'm going to try and take their channel down, or I'm going to get their address and send them shit and do it, that's all gay ops, That's what we call it. That's how dumb it is. That's what we look at it as. And it becomes a target. So when someone like Vanessa does this, and then Dana goes on another channel, talks about it, my buddy Will's like, what the hell's this? Why are they trying to take down your channel? You are opening a Pandora's box of ghouls that are going to come your way. And that's the way the internet works when you try and do that. When you break the golden rules, people will come for you. And I'm not worried about what's going to happen to me at all.
Fair enough. Okay, next up. Thank you. Okay, Dana. So Dana says, yeah, feelings aren't hurt. My anger is the cherry-picking misogyny going on. I understand that. Thank you for clarifying that, though. And I assume that was in response to somebody from the chat. Serge has one of the most horrific childhood Scientology stories ever. Yeah, he does. And you're whining because you're not rich and famous. Again, I feel like we're comparing traumas and dick traumas. Like, the guy spent 3 years in it. I think that would probably be valid. You sound like a spoiled brat. That's the problem. Again, I don't even want to kind of address that. So Marilyn Honig, now we know you've been going after her, and I have nothing bad to say about Marilyn. But here we go. I have never told one person to report anything or to say anything. There's no proof that I did because it doesn't exist. I love and respect you, Doug, and I'm fine with what you're saying. Thanks, Marilyn. What say thee, Tony?
That, look, they allow it in their comments. They have people coming on to their channels, and it's their followers, and they're talking about it, and they don't have to do it out in public. They could do it behind the scenes. Marilyn, spare me. Okay. You're full of shit, and your channel's never going to succeed with your fucking yarn. Just because people are giving you followers, your channels suck. You guys haven't earned it. You haven't earned it, Marilyn. Vanessa, you haven't earned it. You're being given a channel. You're being given a platform. Why don't you act like it? Why don't you act appreciative and act like a fucking adult and have some respect for the people who gave it to you? Because you know what? If you kept your fucking mouth shut, none of this would ever happen. Now go.
I agree with what you said in the last part. Again, I want to read the disclaimer. I reject the idea that I am aligning or not aligning myself with anyone. I give a public platform where people can share their truth and experiences about Scientology. Again, I got nothing against Marilyn. She makes some amazing art.
I don't have anything against her.
I just stay away quite a bit from the never ends or the people jumping, on the thing, because
I
it's
said
really
some
important.
very nice
It's really
things
important
about
to
Marilyn
me.
on my show last night.
Fair enough, ma'am. Ramble on. Can people maybe understand why he would respond, be upset about the rude comment from Vanessa, and critique from Marilyn about not liking him, then continued to watch troll him in live chats?
Yeah, because this is what these people do. Marilyn's still not addressing the actual issue. She's talking about her. She's worried about her. She's coming on here so people see her channel, just the same way she tried to do with me. And you tried to, you tried to push something, and you thought you were going to get one thing out of it, and it didn't work out, did it? So stop. Just stop. Change the channel.
Really quick on Marcus, I love that motherfucker, man. And it's just, hopefully we can have a call and work things out. But I'm not going to say anything on that. It's just the whole thing sucks. But maybe we can address that later on. The one thing I did see that he called out was her warning the people watching in the chat to, quote, think about what they're consuming. Yeah, that's not cool. If I remember correctly, he got upset because it's basically trying to run off members.
That is true. She came into my chat telling people to leave, into my live chat. How fucking rude. What do you think I'm going to say about you, bitch? You think I'm going to be nice to you after doing that? This is Sparta, bitch. This is the jungle. Who the fuck do you think you are? You're a fucking kitten. You want to come play with the fucking lions? Come on. I'm not scared of any of them. And they try.
Are you going to make me read the disclaimer again? I reject the idea.
I'll read it. And he rejects any association with me. Okay.
And I have him on. And I'm all behind this free speech shit because you guys freaking put it on my lines. And again, it's only select few people.
If I wanted to hurt if I wanted to hurt your feelings, I would use different words. I'm just roasting you. Haven't you ever seen like the Dean Martin roasts and stuff? Remember when people thought things were funny, when comedy was okay, when people didn't take themselves so seriously and so arrogant that somebody couldn't make fun of them? I remember that.
Marilyn too, man. Like I don't have any beef with anybody. This is why I stay away mostly from the new creators. They're totally welcome to come on, but they just aren't up to speed on that. No offense, Marilyn, but you weren't even in, and it's my life. So there's a very different viewpoint in being totally invested in something and making crafts and stuff. So, if you did take the fight to Facebook and ban this person just for chatting on Tony's channel, yeah, that's bullshit.
It's fucked up.
Next question. So we've been going for an hour and 42 minutes. Let's do like 30 more minutes, my man. I know you got it. We have so much to talk about.
Let's go.
Let's let people
I can stand on my head for another 4 hours. You see how long I go, bro. Let's go.
I know, but I have shit to fucking do today, dude. And I know we're not going to get anywhere near. Let's go for we'll do 2.5 hours on this one because I really want to give people time to take in the information, leave their comments afterwards, and we'll do a part 2, my man, and we'll just do a full-on Q&A. But this is, I hope, at least on my end, bro, this is really, this is a good, I'm glad that we did this discussion because it's bringing a lot of shit to light.
And I just want to make very clear, I have no personal problem with anybody. I have never doxed anyone's personal private information. Okay. Anything that I've done is already public and online. I've not done anything that, look, if you the girl put her name in the fucking square on her channel, you guys, she put her full name. I didn't do that. I didn't look for it. I didn't want to know it. You know what I mean? I don't want to know these people. But when you talk about satanic panic and all these things, and then you're modeling satanic clothing.
QAnon. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Oh, my God.
Ready?
I don't know what mic drop it is, but
No,
perfect time
before.
to do some
I'm
kind
on
of sound
before.
thing. Hit it, Tony.
Chris Shelton. Thank you.
Dude, we don't get me started on that, because the shoot that Dana did, is disturbing and brilliant at the same time.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Ramble on, what's up? Can people maybe understand why he would be upset about the rude comment made from Vanessa? We already covered that. My bad. I need to get a moderator for the next one, Tony. There's too many people in the chat, and I'm going to have somebody field that for next time.
And
Laura,
we could have
play.
another part and do a full Q&A, guys, because I think people should really understand where you are, and like that this platform does not belong to you. Okay.
Yeah.
It belongs to millions and millions and millions of creators. Okay. And mostly it's not, it's mostly viewers. And so some of you who are coming in that are sitting here and trying to take down channels, do you know the work it takes to look at this Millennium Falcon shit that I have here? Do you think this is easy? No, this took years to develop and figure out where to put this shit and where to put the red thing in the frame and where to have have this and not to have too much of the wall. Do you know how much effort I take to make my show look and sound good? No, you don't, because yours looks and sounds like shit.
Mr.
Okay?
Apostate Alex has jumped in. What's up, dude?
Good.
Genuine, honest question and not a criticism. Tony, what consideration do you give to the impact your words have on people's recovery and mental health? Good
Okay,
question.
Clout Chaser. Change the channel. There it is. Thank you.
There you go, Apostate Alex. There you go. Okay, we covered that one. I can't pronounce that even slightly, not least because it's not in English, but how you doing, my friend? I'm not disagreeing with people shitting on him for language and attacks in the other channel, but I am pointing out that the attacks he received were real, even with, quote, nice words and direct means. I think I know what you're talking about there. Yeah.
Like a little passive-aggressive stuff.
There you go, passive-aggressive. Just
Yeah,
like that email. Let me bring this email back up to show you, to hammer home that point. This is passive-aggressive, and it really irks me. So this is under the guise, if you're just joining us, this is that sample of the 100+ emails that I've gotten, and this one's light. It's a passive-aggressive way of trying to control me. And if you think I do control after what I survived with Scientology, seriously, man, you don't know who, like, just forget these kind of emails. They don't work on me. But he says, I do have to say, so I get buttered up here. Hi, Doug. I'm a follower of your channel and also many of the SPTV channels. I admire the work you do and the others you do to celebrate freedom, blah, blah, blah. And then here comes the caveat. I do have to say, however, that I'm concerned about you agreeing to interview Zero Dark Tony. Really? Who are you? His degradation of women and the SPTV community, blah, 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 right? And then he says right here, this is the real part that gets me. You agreeing to give him time to explain his story is nothing more than agreeing with his views. Oh, really? Yes, he does have a Scientology story to share, but what happened to him in Scientology has absolutely nothing to do with his misogyny and abusive language. I am asking, even though I don't know who the fuck you are, and you have no, as they say in Scientology, you don't have the rank to ask me this shit. I am asking that you consider this before doing an interview with him. Giving him a voice and a light is harmful. Now, this could even be Jeffrey Augustine himself setting this bullshit up, but this is an example of how dare you tell me what I can and cannot say. Right. It's just disgusting.
And when somebody that I don't know, who just comes out of nowhere and pretends to be nice, and then kind of like, look, what happens if someone comes over to your place and you think that they just, they just crap on your coffee table? That's what really happened here. I came into this because I reached out to Aaron and I said, look, I was involved in Scientology, but my angle to talk was more about how I was in county jail versus the guy who's talking about prison. So I wanted to give the perspective of what's happening to Danny in county jail. I put up a video, it gets almost 4,000 views right out of the gate, called New Fish. Danny Masterson, New Fish. It's on my channel, right?
I'll link that in the description so people can check it out too.
Yeah, but since then, people did this thing with the comments, and it really does ripple out, and it causes an effect, because if a couple people report a channel, it affects it, and that's what you guys are doing, and that's what YouTube will handle. And if Degraded Daughters loses their channel, well, I'm sure they'll get another one very quickly.
Yeah, like I said, man, I don't really even follow that. I don't know too much of their story. There's too much content to consume anyways.
Yeah.
Alex, so Apostate Alex, I am all for the healthy debate, but calling me a, quote, bitch made clout goblin who stands up for nothing but himself is an uncalled for personal attack when I have refused to engage in this publicly.
How about faggot? Kick rocks. All you
Yeah.
care about is fucking celebrity shit. Beat the fucking get out of here. I don't even want to talk to this guy. He's not even worth my time. Seriously.
Again, I have a little aggressive attitude, but yeah, Alex, there's a reason why we're not working together anymore.
Douche.
Okay. Guys, it's just we got to set this up differently next time, Tony, because there's just way too much shit to keep track of, man.
But do you see? This is I light it up a little bit because get people to react. This is how people need to exercise their maturity. I'm not saying look, context is everything, you know? Context is everything. And if you want to sit there and say that in the comment to me, then you got to expect something to come back at you. I mean, he knows the game. You know, I mean,
exactly. How about this one? Maybe we can touch on a couple points here. So this is back to Dana. If you believe in freedom of speech, surely you also agree with Vanessa's right to remain silent. You may feel you deserve an apology, but she doesn't have to give you one. I'm not even up to date on all this drama. Does that make any sense to you?
I would say that, okay, yeah, she has the right to remain silent for sure. And then this is what happens when you remain silent. So sure, because you don't know the etiquette. And that's it, Meerkat Moon. She doesn't know the etiquette, and neither do you.
It appears that the never ends are now a negative. Did anybody say that? If so, it appears that ex-Scientologists are in their own cult. Yeah, they are. That's why I try to expose it, and I don't have much to do with any of the creators that are making a buck off of it. Exactly right.
And the thing about me wanting to be a part of a community is I never did. I just came over. I said, hey, let me tell this story a little bit. And, you know, you get completely shit on by weirdos. I've never wanted to be a part or claim to be part of this community. I'm kind of in it by default in a very small piece. And that's all I've ever said. You know, I don't know.
It's not too far off where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Just talk about whatever your story is. Again, if you're just joining us, that's understandable why you'd say this, but I laid out what the whole point of this was. And the only reason we're bringing this up is because of all the fucking emails and shit and trouble this has been causing on me. And I didn't even join into this shit. So we did tell a story in the first half. That was part one of a 2-part broadcast here. Thanks for your comment, though. Yes, Doug, you kind of did belittle those who have never been in. Oh, really? It really doesn't mean that they do not have something productive offer. Again, I did not say that. I was very clear that I said I lived this shit, and there's a difference between going into Vietnam and getting shot and then people that haven't experienced that they think that they know what they're talking about. That's what I said. So be you know, again, you got to, and then I feel like no matter how clear I am, but there's someone's always going to come back misunderstanding. I made it very clear what I said, and you can rewind the video.
There's also stolen valor being in that
exactly.
You know what I mean? Consider that.
I just find, I find that quite offensive when my words are taken out of context like that. Why does Vanessa only care about certain victims? That's my question. It's a good question too. Tony, let's see. So we've been going 2 hours. I just haven't been able to keep up with these questions.
It's okay. Just roll them out and talk.
Okay.
Well, I do.
How about this, Tony? Do you mind talking and covering for me for a bit while I go? Give me 5 minutes and just talk about something. Talk about
I don't
sucked off John Travolta.
I don't have the ball on the comments, but I'll read some from my chat on this side. So go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, I got you.
What I'm saying is, if I could have a minute to go star everything while you just kind of cover the mic for a minute, I'm going to hit some stuff here.
Okay, you got it. So, you know, when I start to get some of these reactions from people and people start to push me, I have that type of trauma that I'm going to swing back. I mean, what do you expect? You know, and exactly what it is, Miss Vicky May. This is lessons on how to act here. You guys act like you're in a fucking barn. Alex, whatever, you know, these people that are trying to pretend they're jumping on a bandwagon. And Alex, by the way, you're fucked. You're a douchebag because you didn't see any of the evidence that I play. And that's why you're a clout chasing goblin. Okay. And that's why I think you're a douchebag, because you don't look at the facts. You just want what's good for your channel. So fuck you, Alex. Stay the fuck over there.
Not even going to touch that one.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying.
Yep.
And nobody else wants to hear that, but that's the fact. If you want to know how creators look at Alex, he is what's called a simp. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little more of the words here. It's a simp. Okay, he is simping for these girls who have obviously acted badly, but he doesn't want to look at the fact because it'll be bad for his channel. They'll unfollow him, and I don't care. I don't care about being unfollowed. Well, How about Fleisch? Fleisch is an F word. That's your last name. You're telling me not to use an F word. Your last name's an F word. What's wrong with you?
Let's see what this says. And the other night, while Aaron was promoting Laura FM channel for her episode later that night, the Never Ends After Party show plugged many times during the show, stole viewers from Laura and Serge. I don't know how that things work. You know, Aaron and whatever, he can put out as many videos as he wants. We can't all.
No, what she's saying is,
okay, please.
What she's saying is that some people that were Never Ends from their channel kept jumping into to Lara's channel, who they were covering maybe some very important stuff, and people were viewers, so they were trying to watch. And apparently, you know, some of the Never Ends, being, you know, Chad, who gets in every chat, and Marilyn, they start to promote their stuff in here. And that's what clout chasing is. You will never see me in someone else's chat promoting my show. Ever. You know why? Because it's a bad look, and it's desperate, and it's thirsty. And that's why I don't let people post links in my chat, because there are dumb people still left that don't understand the etiquette. Again, you people don't know the rules. I do. Don't fucking blame me because you don't know them and that you're too soft to be. Again, this is Sparta. Do you understand? I'm being honest with you. There are people in here that are fucking crazy. And you have to learn how to navigate this very treacherous territory, especially when you want to come in after a couple months. Y'all think you're a hot shot. Guess what? 150,000 ex-Scientologists in the world, 20,000 active ones. Okay. You ain't even a bit, all of you together ain't even a big YouTube channel, motherfuckers. So y'all chill out and learn where you are. Good Lord, have some manners. And then I'll have them. I mirror the respect I'm given, because I've been trooned before. I have been doxxed before. I have had people call my mother and tell them that I had offed myself because they were from law enforcement, the QAnon people. So don't ever push me like you're in Call of fucking Duty. You don't have the legendary skins. I do, and I earn them. And just because my channel isn't a huge one, it's because I barely try. Okay? That's why. So I think everybody should just relax and have some manners and learn that when you talk to someone a certain way, you don't know how they're going to react. And that's none of your business unless you make it your business. I'm a very peaceful, pleasant, chill dude. A lot of people like me, you know?
Thank you for covering the 5 minutes, sir. I think I got a few
Okay.
star things. That was great, man. Thank you. So I think I got some star things, got 7 of them lined up. Guys, now is the time before we end off in the next 20 minutes or so to ask all the questions you want right now, so that I can easily line them up and not have to scroll through this shit. Borderline what? Says Apostate Alex is totally grifting off of SPTV. It's all but me.
Buy me a coffee. It's all buy me a coffee.
You read that, my man, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Apostate Alex is totally grifting off SPTV. It's all buy me a coffee. He was in for not long, but makes out he was very high up. That's interesting. He was a bookseller who admits he didn't see much, but still grifts. That's interesting.
I'm not going to argue with that at all.
Not at all.
Data, I'm not sure what this is referring to, but I know that SRA is a true thing. And I got just as pissed off when I saw that comment that Vanessa made, but I would handle it in a different way. But more power to Tony for calling that out, because I fucking hate that. Don't get it twisted. It's not about an apology. It's about her calling SRA victims liars. Roger that. And then someone says, well, what is SRA? It's satanic ritual abuse, and it's a real thing. And it's often passed off as satanic panic or you're just a QAnon conspiracy nutter. It's a fucking serious subject. Yeah. I hope you guys get into that at some point.
And just so, well, actually, this week, maybe early next week, we had him scheduled for the other day, but things here were a little bit.
The Son of Sam process shit. Yeah. Mike Codella. I want to talk to that guy too, if you don't mind.
So I'm going to have Mike Codella on my channel. And you know what? You could jump in the panel with us, bro. Jump in the panel.
I would love to. I haven't reached out to Mike, but I know I've watched all of his stuff. I
jump in with us.
Fucking A, dude. Well, Tell Mike thank you in advance, man. I can't wait to. I won't hog it, but I'll just hang out and listen to you guys.
Well, that's what the thing is. That it's going to be on my members, and we're going to go in there, and we are going to talk to Mike Codella, who was actually one of the detectives on the Son of Sam case. He interviewed the Grimston, and you know. So
that's right.
He knows the real deal.
Not only that ties into what we talk about in the channel about the Process Church, which is started by Marianne de Grimstead and Robert de Grimstead, who used to be high-level Scientologists. They broke off, and that ties into the Son of Sam shit too. It's too much to get into, but I have 2 videos on it called The Summer of Psyops. And then if you go to my BitChute channel, you can see a PR version of the process Church of the Final Judgment, where they actually try to dismiss those allegations. But if you know what you're looking for, that's quite a telling documentary, even though it was made by the cult itself. Vegan 3, Degraded Daughters, just went with Jeffrey to find somebody that was supposedly dead. They're bonded. Yeah, you know why I don't deal with the Degraded Daughters? And because what I would try to get into, which I fucking haven't been able to carry on
Because
with
it's
yet,
like
because all this
having
bullshit.
hot chopsticks driven into your ears.
Yeah,
Okay.
anybody that's talking to Jeffrey, I'm going to taste straight up. And that's why Apostate Alex falls into this and Degraded Daughters. Yeah, you guys are supporting an abuser. And they want to come on and answer for the evidence, not allegations, the evidence. Then fine. Until then, you literally are supporting abusers. And I think at this point, you'd be aware of that fact. I've certainly laid out the facts, and I'd like them to come on, Jeffrey and Karen, to answer for those. Ramble on. The other creator should have told Vanessa what she did was rude and inappropriate, because writing on another creator's vid, they're a liar or a QAnon adjacent and shouldn't be watched. Who is Vanessa to do that? Again, she might not know. This is heavy territory. It's conspiracy territory, which you have to walk very carefully so they can be forgiven for not knowing. They're young girls. You know, I wouldn't attack them that way personally, Tony, but it fucking boiled my blood when I saw that comment. I would just handle it differently. That's all I'm saying. But the anger was there as well.
Well, I got to tell you, bro, I have at least a year of content, so I don't know what to tell you. So maybe it'll last. You know, I cover other people too. You know, we got a bunch of other, you know, grifters that we're going to be covering, and a lot of other Epstein, Hollywood stuff. And that's really my main spin. And I
actually.
And I let off, I took one of my videos for everybody to go look at that Dana and I did about the Epstein Mafia. Okay, it's called the Epstein Mafia. I just made it public. It would usually cost you $25 to come look at that over there.
Fucking
right?
hey, if you want to fucking really check out an Epstein video, why don't you head over to my BitChute channel? It's called fucking Ghislaine Maxwell. It's called Epstein's Shadow. You'll fucking hear about the Mossad connections and all that shit, yo.
Man,
That's a whole nother thing to open up, man.
Yeah. And but you know, make no mistake that Scientology, and this is something that's always interested me, is definitely part of the mechanism of Hollywood, right? They're like a little star factory over there, and they go and they have the biggest agents, the biggest representation, CAA, and you're going to see how that connects with Endeavor and Elon Musk and Mike Ovitz and Jeffrey Epstein, and they are all, ladies and gentlemen, connected to the WEF. Who the C.
I did not know that last piece. I will tune in for that. And also, this is why Scientology ties into all this shit. Why do you think they're like a main Hollywood cult? Oh, they're dying. They're not getting any people. They're a freaking intelligence agency that plays a huge role in this fucking shit.
Right.
So
I mean,
Dana's,
if anybody really takes any time to look into anything, you would see the easy trail of breadcrumbs betwixt Scientology, the agencies, the law firms.
Yeah, that's another key point, by the way.
Right. And RFK working for a Scientology law firm to pick the pockets of the big of the biotech companies, and basically not paying off any victims, but it goes right to Scientology. So that's their pickpockets. RFK is part of the pickpocket mechanism of Scientology. Another video I have.
And by the way, if that's too over people's head, I do try to take people through the stuff that Tony's talking about in bite-sized pieces, because it's just a different style. I assume that it's so hairy going down this rabbit hole that I just try to pick my words carefully and lay it out. But I can tell you everything that him and Dana have been talking about with John Atack and how he's pimping for Jolly West. There's so much to this story. He is speaking the truth. I know from personal experience and research. So again, if we can ever get off this and I can get back to the controlled opposition videos, which was just a side project that needs to be exposed in addition to the series and everything I'm trying to work on, we will fucking cover all of this. Tony, let's fucking take two more, or let's see. Let's see.
Yeah,
I mean, this is perfect to end off because it keeps people, you know, it allows people to leave comments, and this is 2 hours of material that they can digest, they can have their opinions, and then they can spit them out in the comments. We'll definitely do a part two if you're down. Okay, there you go, guys. We'll do a part 2 in a couple days. No one's going to be blocked, so go ahead and leave your comments, unless there's a couple stipulations where if I feel like they're specifically sent in by IOSA, that's independent OSA, that would be, you know, Jeffrey Augustine and Karen De La Carriere and other people, or if it's from OSA itself, I can spot what's kind of going on. So if they're there to distract or, kind of really take everybody off, that's what they're experts at. Ignore tech and distract tech. Those are the only people that get blocked, but I make pretty damn sure that they're sent in, so to speak, but there's not too many of those people. So say whatever the fuck you want. So let's end off with Dana here. I've asked Vanessa to come on my page and tell the victims of SRA that have reached out to me to call them liars. Yeah, I'd like to see that too. I've
Ooh.
asked her to recant. Dana does not pull any punches. I've asked her to apologize. Tony stood up as a man for me. Do you want to say a few comments on that? We'll end off there, ma'am.
I would stand up for her any day.
Guys, we are going to leave you with the man that Serge Delmar said in Aaron's video, was very succinct about. It's not about Miscavige. It's not that story does not start and end where people's personal beef with Miscavige is. The rabbit hole is far, far deeper. And it all starts with the absolute jackass, L. Ron Hubbard, whose policies we all follow. And until we break that spell, and you can't do it without going deeper down the rabbit hole, we have no way to actually do something about Scientology. And all the controlled opposition does is make a lot of money and keep Scientology working. So I leave you with the asshole that started all this, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. Take care.
Now, here is L. Ron Hubbard.
And you find in each and every case, you're finding the phenomenon of entities, communications, spaceships, other planets, locations, beingness in other states, and all of this, and you find this to be a consistent condition. You have fulfilled this definition of the mesh universe.